Hello and welcome to the Blackdog 288.
Still not 300.
Still not 300. No, it's like the toilets in the TARDIS. They're perpetually at the end of the corridor. One for the Who fans out there. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to 288. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we are back after a little hiatus, caused by a small case of near death. Yeah, we're back, and we're back with a new season. Yes, until October, when we have another new season. But we've got the Educating Elton season.
Yay!
Yay!
Because by God, he needs it.
Yeah. So there you go. But anyway, so we're gonna kick off with our first of Educating Elton season, which is going to be Das Boat. Any one of the 37,000 versions, all of which are at least a week long. And yeah, but before that, we'll find out how everyone's fortnight's been, and yeah, get on with that and stuff. So much for this nice fast format. I'm still waffling. Hasn't really helped. No, hasn't. All it is, nature abhors a vacuum. I'm just talking to fill the space now. Anyway, so before we get going, let's see how everyone's fortnight's been, and we will start with the man of the hour, Elton. How's it been?
Bloody hell, man of the hour.
Well, you got a whole season named after you.
Yeah, man.
Fucking hell. You know, show some fucking gratitude.
I've been here, 7 years, man and boy. I've never had a season named after me. What makes you so fucking special?
Yeah, you were. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, actually, Darren can have his apocalyptic month.
Oh yeah, cheap cut.
Cheap.
You are so going to regret this. You really.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know that. I know that.
Everybody's going to suffer that week. I tell you.
Week, month.
Yes, that month. Yes.
Yes.
Poorly written, poorly directed, poorly created.
And that's just the cast.
Apocalyptic sci-fi type thing. Yep.
Anyway, back to you, Elton. How's it going?
Okay. Well, yeah, not too bad. Well, okay. I will leave the big news that everyone has for someone else to do. But the last 2 weeks have just involved me carry on building this N7 armor for Mr. Andy Plastides. And I've managed to watch season 1 of Mad Men. Yes, ooh. I am behind. But thoroughly enjoyed that.
And how is the year 2000? Good?
It's not too bad, actually. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
It's a whole millennium laid out in front of you. You'll be fine.
Jesus.
Anyway, so Mad Men, good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. Has anyone else seen it?
I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah, I watched the first season, and I thought, that's quite good. I didn't actually cough like that when I was thinking about it, but I thought that was quite good. And then, you know what? Other stuff came along. I think Game of Thrones came along, and then other things that just distracted me. And Christina Hendricks' bum is kind of like the takeaway of the whole thing, as far as I can tell.
Oh yeah,
that is on there quite a bit.
Yes, no, but I mean, it's a good series. I tell you, there was other series I was finishing off and. Yeah, so I kind of got distracted, but I do intend to return to it because I think it's all on Netflix, isn't it, Elton?
It probably is. I haven't been dipping my toe in that well for this.
Oh, I was going to say, he's made it easy for you. You just got to go in your favourites now and find it in there.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find out what who's been watching my Netflix by precisely what my recommendations are. But anyway,
you got Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I'll get round to that later.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. Hey Lee,
fuck it. I'm gonna have some fun with it. Fuck it. I'm gonna start watching G.I. Joe and everything.
Oh Jesus! Go on. Anyway.
I won't watch it. I'll just put it on.
just walk away. just have it on constant loop. Because you've watched G.I. Joe 65 times, we recommend Transformers the movie. Nice.
Why not?
Okay.
Yes. So, Mad Men. It's thoroughly entertaining. I quite like all the sexism and racism and the homophobisms and
nice.
stuff like it. It's brilliant. I wish I was there right now, but it's quite good. I quite like it. So I've already bought season 2.
Right.
So that'll be turning up very, very soon. And because it's so old, it's all just £1 or £2. So it's brilliant TV for pennies, really.
Yeah. So by the way, if anyone heard a little bit of feedback just then, when he was talking about the racism and sexism and homophobia, that's because literally Elton just willed an entire Reddit thread into being. And you may be hearing people bashing down our doors by the end of the evening.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so you've been, what, do you get it from Computer Exchange or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I just darted in there, and it was £1 the first season. So
That's
I thought,
really
yoink.
good. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Have some of that.
Yeah. So I think I found my new thing that I'm going to be watching for the next couple of weeks. So
Cool.
yeah, there's 7 seasons as well. So
Yeah.
more than most normally. So that's good. And I've bought all of the Battlestar Galactica on DVD. I've seen it all once before. I've got it sat there waiting for its second viewing now. So
I've got to do the same
Nice.
thing. I've got the Blu-ray box set, but I haven't actually ventured into it. I've also got the 2 films that came after it, The Plan and Blood and Chrome.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I've
Razor
got-
as well, wasn't there?
Razor.
No, Razor's part of the box set.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I've said this before elsewhere, but I don't know if I've got the mental wherewithal to face watching Battlestar again.
I've got to get through the boxing episode. That was the thing that killed it for me, the boxing episode.
Is that where Apollo gets tubby?
I don't know.
Everything from when they blew the budget on the after episode 3 of season 3.
That was those first 4 episodes were like the best thing. They always do it. They do a whole group of episodes at the beginning or the end, and the bits in the middle were kind of like, what are we going to do now? I don't know. Should we play some
We'll have
cards
people
on this
getting
budget?
tense and drunk and shouting, and we'll do our best not to advance the plot in the fucking slightest and claim there's a plan to this shit.
Yeah, and then on top of all of that, you turn around and you go, right, okay, we have to introduce some new people, but we're on a fleet, which is basically a static bubble of people, so we can't keep introducing new people because eventually we'll introduce the entire fleet as guest stars. So what we'll do is we'll say, oh, this person who you've never seen before, he was really good friend. He was really good to us when we were all stuck on New Caprica in the 2 years that the whole the 2 seasons straddled and never showed you. So it's like, oh, this guy was good. Really? That means he is doomed and he shall not be in this series ever again. He's literally brought on just to be removed.
I've yet to see that. Hopefully when I watch it, I won't. If I watch it all in one go, that one bit. If I just go over it like you know when you got a trolley and you're trying to get over that, when you're going over 2 bits of floor and one's slightly uneven, and you can't push the trolley over it because you're not going fast enough. Hopefully, I can go fast enough over that bit there, that little speed bump, get over it, and continue watching.
So
the rest
you've
of the
never
show.
seen the whole thing?
No, what I say, I got to the box.
Does the phrase parabolic curve mean anything to you? Brackets, nosedive.
It went like this, right? Okay, beginning of season 3, right? Episode 1. Episode 1. Oh my god, this is good. Episode 2. Oh my god, this is good. Episode 3. Oh my god, this is good. Episode 4. Oh no, they've just splooged the entire effects budget on this one tiny little scene. And then after that, it's like, right, now this is life after all that excitement. And,
Quicker into the ground than Tom Daly jumping off a high building.
Exactly. and now the next episode is. And this is more. We're going to be doing some stuff soon. Yes, we're going to be doing some things. And let's anybody taking classes to make paper aeroplanes on board the Galactica because they're having to make up shit now to keep themselves occupied. And okay. And next week, this week's episode is Gaius Baltar has a disagreement with the old man during a pottery lesson.
No, I have to say.
Fucking hell, fine. Go fucking speed up, for God's sake.
See, the middle of season 3. The middle of season 3 is very much like when. Did you ever see Spike Milligan's Q series?
Yeah.
When they used to improv a scene live, and then they used to just run out of time, or
what are we going to do now?
What are we going to do now? Yeah, or script. And they just stop and they all just go, what are we going to do now? And they all move slowly off the stage left. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? That's the whole of season 3 up to the last 4 episodes when suddenly they go, oh shit, yeah, they're supposed to be going to Earth. Fuck.
Let's do some exciting stuff. Because up to that point, I really liked the show, but it was just like, after a while, it was just like this turgid sort of, fucking trying to wade through treacle.
Can you hear that screech again?
Yeah.
That's another Reddit thread appearing.
Oh, man.
The Galacticons are all after us.
I'm going to give it another shot, though. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do the entire thing, and,
Yeah,
I think it's worth it just for a completist's point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will. I mean, I'm being harsh, but I have to say that, yeah, it's like when you to use your analogy, it's like when you stub your toe and you trip and you try and style it out.
Yeah.
You kind of just trip and fall forward and try and make it look like
jazz hands.
Yeah, and you lose like you're trying to do a run. That's what whole of season 3 is, except instead they just fall on your face and you go,
I've done that before.
it's the Scarlett Johansson falling meme. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's all gone wonky. Anyway, wow. Welcome to Tangent. Welcome to the Tangent Alley. Right. So, anything else, Elton?
No, I put some photos up of the thing that I'm building for Andy.
Yes.
The army. You guys have seen it as well.
Yeah,
so.
I want that now. I'm going to be supplying you with stuff. I want some. Thank you.
You don't really want me. I've been trying very hard. It's very well made. It looks superb, and I am intensely jealous of Mr. Palastides. However, there's a little nitpick, and I will not say it. But I just needed to.
But you have to now. It's like,
I know.
do you know what? There's something wrong, but I'm not going to tell you.
No,
Fuck you.
Because if I draw attention to it,
I can already hear the sellotape coming out and the breadcrumbs going on the bottom of the sellotape, and him sellotaping the breadcrumbs to the windowsill and watching those birds peck themselves together, because that's the kind of git Mr. Medcalf is. Okay? He's a complete and utter git. He's like, wake up. What's that? Do you know what I thought about it? Don't worry about it. You go back to sleep. Fucking...
I've never done that to you.
No, not to me. Sleep like a rock.
You just find him at your front door pecking on your door.
chinning his letterbox.
No, I did wake up. I did wake up and find him staring at me as I was sleeping. And I went, "The fuck are you doing here?" He went, "I'm just watching you sleep." I went, "That's fucking wrong." He goes, "Well, you never complained all those other nights, did it?"
Yeah. He looks so peaceful. He didn't even wake up when I started sharpening that knife. Anyway,
I'll tell you what. With the nitpick, let me know later, and I'll probably have a good
want to
reason
know what it
for
is,
the
mate.
nitpick.
no,
reveal.
I'm hoping that it's just because it's mid build, so I don't want to bring up anything, because if it's mid build, then I'm just going to sound like an idiot. Mm-hmm. And I've left that juicy
now you've left. There's a little thing. He's got a bit of doubt now. You've affected the course of his art. Now,
No.
He's going to be looking like, what does he mean?
No.
He's going to be sitting there obsessing about it now.
No.
You said that. You should have waited until it had been finished and then said something. Well
On the
done.
webcam, you'll just see my feet swinging.
Golf. Exactly. Fucking golf clap.
Just one shoe and a sock.
Oh.
Just slowly winging backwards and forwards.
What's that creaking sound? Let's have a look at the live feed from Elton. Oh.
The sound of this one shoe dropping. Someone walking in and going, "Oh, Elton, your dinner's ready." Oh my God.
Call an ambulance.
My kid's desperately trying to force my feet,
Trying to hold you up at the knees.
and they're crying, and there's it's terrible.
Oh,
Why, Daddy? Why?
it's like that. It's like Monty Python. That Monty Python thing about the dirty
chef.
knife. Dirty knife.
Makes me mad.
Good job I didn't tell him about the dirty fork.
Well done. Well,
Wow. Can you tell that? You can tell it's been a while since we've
fucking golf clap.
same room together.
I'm golf clapping this motherfucker right now. There we go. Look.
Oh God. The wheels on the cast have all come off, all come off, all come off. Anyway,
That's it.
yeah, is that
Yeah.
it? Okay. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that was it. 5 minutes of how your week was, and 15 minutes of conversation about Galactica and hanging on webcams.
Do you know what? Every year at this time, right? Okay, Facebook's going to post that up as a memory, and you're going to feel so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Or it'll be the picture from the webcam with the feet.
Screen grab.
We care about your memories, Mr. Medgar.
Just one sock with the toe poking out and a shoe. I shouldn't laugh.
No, you shouldn't. God, I'll tell you what. Reddit's literally exploded.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, anyway. Oh, boy. So, Jim, how's your fortnight been? Oh.
Well, I'll leave the big news for the end of the news roundup. The big shared event.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
But after that, I left rainy London town and went to sunny Norwich. And it was actually sunny. I timed my week's holiday well.
Yeah.
I had the best week of the year. And had a thoroughly relaxing time, just pootling around, looking at some ancient sites and generally doing nout.
Nice.
It's very good.
Did you manage to find Nicholas Parsons or the quiz of the week?
I didn't. We looked everywhere for that silver knight on a statue.
Oh, no.
To no avail.
Wasn't he an Anglian TV mascot or something? And now, from Norwich, it's the quiz of the week.
It wasn't even a memorial to Peter Fenn, the organist.
And anyone born after 1985, please just use Google.
That's what it's there for.
That's what it's there for. It's to educate you guys. So you didn't take part in the quiz of the week?
No, I didn't. I did go on the trail of the notorious Black Shuck.
Oh, nice.
And I have now rafts of photos that will no doubt see the light in a future Folklore on Friday article, or several articles probably.
Excellent.
Including a church door clawed by the infamous beast.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh, wow. So it's like a sort of home counties kind of X-Files.
Oh, well. A bit classier than that.
All right. Cool. And will there be a hypnagoria about it, or is it just going to be Folklore on Friday?
Maybe a bit of both. As it's all part of the Blackdog law.
Yeah, nice.
Handy hit. One of the places I visit where they said the infamous Black Shuck allegedly appeared is called Bungie. And not as many people reading the sign pronounce it Bungay. So if you're in Norfolk and you want to visit that place, do get the pronunciation right, or you might get some funny looks and maybe some very odd directions.
Nice. Ah, lovely. Oh, right. So anything else, sir, or is?
That has been pretty much it, really. I got home at the weekend and done the traditional, I'm back from holiday. I've got 6 tons of washing and lots of work to catch up on.
Yeah.
But other than that, the feathered fiend is back on his perch and still looking a bit drunk.
Yeah, that solid old bastard. He was. We'll get to him in a minute. We'll deal with him in a minute. So, but right now, over to you, Mr. Barnard. How was your week?
Well, I've returned from the wasteland that is Hoxton.
The Juddland waste of Hoxton.
It is a wasteland now. I finish with it. So, ground zero detonation. Ha ha!
Beards laying strewn across the shovels.
But like a many-headed hydra, you cut off one beard and another one grows back, or 2 grow back actually.
Hail Hoxton.
One on either side of the head.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okey.
But it's been a bit of a mixed bag, really. I've had a birthday, of course.
Yes.
So I am 7th year into my 40th decade. So I can't even say it. Yeah, I'm 47. So there we go.
47.
Just go for nearly 50. That's what I
Yeah.
do. It's easier. You don't have to both numbers anymore.
I'm just over 45 years old.
Yeah. Do it in Roman numerals. People will be spending longer to working it out.
I'm in my late 40s. Jesus Christ, this is getting worse as I go along.
You are sort of getting into that checkbox of 45 to 50 now.
I'll tell you what, it won't only be Elton's feet you'll see hanging from a fucking webcam soon. It really won't be.
Oh wow, this will be like that forest in Japan. Sea of feet.
Yes. Wasn't it just
Nice,
lovely, jubbly. Let's see, what else have I done? I've been out for a good few drinks in the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
I've had many hangovers,
which have all bled together.
It's very much like Mad Max. Going across the wasteland one day has bled into another one.
Nice.
Let's see, what else have I done? Oh, I managed to get round to finally watching Agent Carter, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think it's a great little addition to the old Marvel sort of, the Marvel TV universe. Highly recommend it to anybody who watches it. Video game front, played the absolute batshit crazy Doom, the new version, which is all kinds of wonderful. And it's just a nice old-fashioned shooter with sort of like modern-day special effects added
Unleash
onto it.
the rage.
Fucking right, you can unleash the rage. It gives you the ability to literally punch the living shit out of things, right? Okay, you can shoot them. Right, what happens is you run along, right, and Pete Hammond is the one that actually was going to me and said, I've got 2 words for you, glory kill.
Right.
And I'm glad he put kill on the end, because if he had said whole, that's a whole new new thing there. I'm not interested.
No,
Pete.
no.
But you get to a point where if you shoot these things enough, and with some things it takes just a couple of shots, but others it takes a little bit more. But suddenly you see the creature suddenly glow blue. And what you can do then is you can initiate the glory kill. Now, what the glory kill is, you press down. If you're using an Xbox like I am, you press down on one of the actual controllers down, and what it does is it initiates like a fucking hand-to-hand kill, right? Okay,
Yeah.
And I discovered that it depends on which way you actually run at the creature is to sort of like how it actually affects the actual kill, right? The animation, so you can actually choose what you want. It's like if you look at its legs and you click the button, you see it fucking literally chop the knees off of the creature and it folds in half. I beat someone to death with their own arm as well.
Brilliant.
And there's one I'm waiting to see, which is the death from above glory kill, which apparently you leap on something and initiate it, and there's a fantastic animation. But I think actually I think my favourite one is the one you do when you approach the creature from behind, because you literally see one hand grab the top part of the jaw, the other hand, or the head, the other hand grab the bottom part, and you literally rip the actual demon's head in twain.
In twain.
Like that. So yeah.
So it's a CBBS game.
Oh yeah, it's
right?
definitely one for. Definitely fun for all the family. This one, you know.
Do you get a chainsaw like in the original?
You do, and it is
yes.
absolutely glorious. Nothing stands up to the chainsaw, right? It's a pity you've only got limited fuel in this thing, but you can go absolutely batshit crazy with it. Oh, and sometimes what'll happen is if you complete certain things like kill certain demons and stuff like this, or kill their certain amount in a certain way, it'll give you a special power up. And I got one which allowed me to go around just punching the shit out of everything for 30 seconds. So I just went around just hitting things with my fists.
You sure this is actually a game and you haven't just made this up and you're just asleep or standing in a cupboard just beating shit up?
Well, no, actually, I'll tell a lie. It wasn't Doom. This was my trip around Hoxton.
Darren's Hoxton Simulator.
It's my Hoxton Simulator. But no.
What a game that would be.
Wouldn't it? I'm going to have to get one of those game makers now and make the...
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was a video game out that was really kind of crazy once.
Serious Sam?
No, not Serious Sam. It's basically you go on a rampage around the town.
Yeah.
No, not Serious Sam. It's
Duke Nukem.
No, I can't remember what bloody book. It was like Redneck Rampage or something
Oh,
like that.
God. Okay, right. Yeah. On that note.
We could make that. There we go.
I think from the sound of it, you have.
Yes. The Hoxton Heresy.
Nice.
That's what we'll call it.
Nice.
There you are. Get Space Marines involved and shit like that.
Anything else?
Let's see now. I finally actually watched in all completion the actual... was it the pilot episode to the Venture Brothers?
The Venture Brothers.
Yeah, I've attempted to watch the pilot episode about 8 times, and I finally sat on a train and went, right, you're fucking watching it.
Yeah,
and I watched it, and I've got to say, I now see what the fascination with that show is. I love Brock Sampson.
Yeah,
especially when he goes completely bonkers and you just see the veins popping on his head.
Yeah,
it's just like nothing stands in this man's way, not even death. It's great, glorious show. So animated show. If you've never heard of Venture Brothers, check it out. There's about 7 or 8 seasons out there, I think. It's tons, but it's very fun. It's a great little parody. It really is. Just really, really good.
Cool, excellent.
So there we go.
There you go. Brilliant. My week, fortnight. Well, the week basically that we weren't here, which was straight after the shindig, which we'll get to in a second. Basically, I was just working solidly on an animation for work, which sounds like fun, except for the fact that I had to take a 107 slide PowerPoint presentation and then condense it down into a 5-minute script without knowing anything about the subject matter. And then I had to narrate that. Script. Then I had to send it to the partners, who would then change it back to more techno-babbly rubbish that would then be 10 minutes long. And then I'd have to edit that down. And then once I'd done that, it's all right, you can carry on eating crisps. It's fine.
You don't want to eat them into the microphone, that was all.
Oh, all right, fair enough. And then I had to animate the bastard thing all within a week. And basically, it was a bit stressful. But what was really funny was I suddenly reacquainted myself with my old Stargate ways, which was basically going to the vending machine, discovering that I had enough money to buy 2 cans of Red Bull, going to the coffee machine, getting 2 cups of that stuff, and then sitting down and downing the lot while getting on with the work, and then wondering why my hands would do this kind of weird dance like Michael J. Fox in an electric chair.
I thought you were going to say you got yourself some Nescafe, a bottle of Nescafe, and 2 cans of Red Bull, and poured the Red Bull straight into the actual jar of coffee.
Well, I was the mixing jug. I mean, in fairness, I was the mixing jug. I just did it internally rather than poured it into the cup. So that was fun. So I spent a whole week basically going...
Oh, you think it was a week. It's just you're moving so quickly. It was moving so slow. It was just 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is still Sunday. I don't know where you've got us here. Normally we do this Tuesday, folks, but we know it's a Sunday. Pretty odd. Blame him.
And so what else? Obviously watched Das Boot. I watched another film which has been recommended twice to me, 3 times actually, but that's come out of nowhere. And I think we might do it for a forthcoming horror month, but not this month, because this month coming because we've got that all locked down. But I watched a Korean zombie movie called Train to Busan.
I want to see this. Film.
Now, I'm not going to say anything about it at all, but you get a general sense for how it's going to be when the opening shot is basically a run over deer, and the first 5 minutes of it is this thing just getting back up. And it's an interesting opening shot, but it kind of sets the tone for the entire thing. It's probably one of the most interesting zombie films I've watched in the last few years, because most of the time zombie films tend to be a bit run-of-the-mill. And the last one before that was any good was Wreck. And definitely check it out. Definitely. I think Cole Hurley brought it up, Chris Knight brought it up as well, and then one of our mutual friends, Jess, said it as well. And I don't know where it's accessible from apart from streaming online services, is all I'm saying. And it's called Train to Busan. Train. Sorry, I should have been trying to spell Busan. But it's Busan, otherwise also known as Busan Line or Busan Bound or Train via Busan, depending on how you want to look it up. But there is actually a streaming service that has it called boxasian.com. And if you go there... Oh, shit, don't start playing it now. No, don't stop there. Stop. He was about to start playing it. But boxasian.com.
You can actually watch it on YouTube. It's free on there as well.
Yeah, well, it's same.
But
same
a very
deal.
low-quality copy of it.
Yeah, well, that's HD, and it has all the subtitles all burnt in. So that's cool. So I watched that. That was very good. I watched Hail Caesar.
What did you think of Hail Caesar? How is the new Han Solo?
The new Han Solo, which is kind of interesting because that's where I was kind of watching it for initially. I think he's going to be very good.
Yeah?
I think he's going to be very good.
Excellent.
Hail Caesar is in parts funny and in parts just there. And then just finishes. And you just kind of go,
Right.
That's all I'm going to say about that. I've been watching Arrow. And what's the other thing? Oh, and then we get to Netflix. Now, last time we were here on the Blackdog podcast, we brought up the fact that our good friend Elton, you know, had access to my Netflix account and then was suddenly watching The Making of a Murderer, which just happens to be the subject of his next Shonky Lab, if I'm not mistaken.
It certainly is.
There you go. Which then prompted my Netflix to suddenly start offering me crime thrillers. Then my dad, who's also got access to my Netflix account via the Fire HD TV, started watching those. So I got more things like that. Now I've been very, very vocal on Facebook about how proud I am about Katie's kind of geekiness. You know, she's getting into the Marvel stuff and she likes Star Wars and all this kind of stuff. She got hold of Netflix on her phone, which we can kind of control via the router. Anyway, she comes up and she says, I've been watching some films and I've been basing them on, going to the next film based on actors and all that sort of thing. I'm like, right, okay, cool. So what have you been watching? She said, the 2009 Star Trek. I'm like, right, cool, okay, fair enough. What else have you been watching? I've been watching some, Mission Impossible and stuff like this. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Simon Pegg, I can see the sort of Hay connection. And then she says she's seen something else. Then she's watched 4 times Star Trek Into Darkness. 4 times. I've only seen it once.
She's like Donnie. She's got no frame of reference, man.
Exactly.
She's got no frame of reference.
And then I thought, well, I've got to head this off at the pass. So I'm like, well, actually, there's the original series on here. You can actually watch the original Star Trek, and you can watch, like, Khan, the Space Seed episode. Watched it, 30 seconds, and she's like, God, this is a bit dull, isn't it? Stopped. Like, okay, but if you watch that, you can then watch Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. So I start watching that. She's like, when's it going to get going? Who are these people? I'm like, no! I literally felt like Obi-Wan standing there going, you were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in tatters. Yep. Yeah, so she's now striking off her own. She's into
Littlest hobo.
Yeah, exactly. she's into all sorts of stuff now that I'm just looking at going, oh God, oh no, oh Christ.
Do you know what? Patton Oswalt does a great little skit about this with his daughter, who's like, he's saying, when I was young, I was all into Star Wars, and I could, it's like, if they had people who sort of like who were thinking about maybe going and sort of like offing themselves, and they could just put me in front of them, and I'd sort of like I'd seal the deal by telling them about all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bosk. Well, let me tell you about him.
Yeah.
So he goes on about how now she's into things like I think it's My Little Pony or something like this.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, I haven't got time to get into another universe. But then he goes into the and he explains about the program. He goes, but that's my daughter's thing.
Yeah, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
She's
some other fairy program or something he watched. But that sounds just like you now.
Yeah. And she's into all this anime stuff now.
Really?
Yeah, she's starting to get into all of that.
Don't understand this.
Yeah, she's throwing all that, and then she started to talk about watching Attack on Titan.
Is she now? No, that's the only anime that I do understand.
Red!
That and Appleseed.
See? No.
Gotta get up, gotta get up.
She isn't into Akira at all. She looked at it,
No?
and it's not on Netflix, but she saw a bit of it, and she's like, It's like, I'm losing control. I've created a monster.
That's because Akira isn't really the sort of emo anime that they have now.
No, I realised that because she's watching some other thing which seems
One
to...
Punch Man?
No.
No, that's not the right. No, that's not.
But
the right sort of anime.
she's watching stuff now where it kind of seems to be revolving around being in a school and all the school kids having to fight off demons or something. I don't know.
It's not Sword Art Online or anything like that.
Something like that. I have no idea what it is. But
Death Note or anything.
No, it's not Death Note. That's the only one. No, it's definitely not Death Note. But anyway, on another matter, because that, now I've kind of clearly lost control of that spawn.
Yep.
That's it. She's gone. That's it. Ruined. That experiment's gone.
Move on to the next one.
Move on to the next one. Now
Can't you send it back and get your money back?
Exactly. Gonna sell her
This one's broken.
Yeah, this one didn't come out right.
Can I get a rebuild on this one?
Yeah. She's watching Vampire Diaries. Vampire Diaries.
Well, I've
Fuck's
never watched
sake.
Vampire Diaries, so...
Oh, God. Anyway. So, on top of that, went to see One Man Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
One Man Star Wars, which was quite good. Which is like a bloke on stage who does all 3 Star Wars movies, the original 3, and he does them all in 1 hour in a sort of, quick sort of 20-minute burst monologue thing. And that was really funny. Really cool. Only thing that annoyed me, he was doing good impressions of people, except for Darth Vader. And it really annoyed me. I got into that kind of sad, geeky moment because, he's making gags about things, you know. So he's trying to do the film, and he'd do quotes, but then he'd get the quotes right, but then he wouldn't do them in the right accent. So he's a Canadian, and he's got this sort of pseudo-American-y accent thing going on, mid-Atlantic accent thing. Pardon me, all Canadians who have just spat their coffee out. I'm really sorry. And then he'd be doing all that, and he'd do a really good Han Solo, do a really good Princess Leia, really good Luke, really good R2-D2, really good C-3PO, and he gets to Darth Vader, and he goes, oh, yeah, da, da, da. And I'm sitting there going, no, you should be, what have you done with those plans? You should be giving it some gravitas, mate. But
you should be. I find your lack of pants disturbing.
Yes, you will seek out me.
Won't you be my Kukachu?
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing, but they laugh a lot behind the green door.
Like a Twinkie. Oh, Mr. Wayne. No, you used the wrong impression.
No, wrong impression. Anyway, so I went to see that. That was very good. Enjoyed that. And what else? There was one other thing apart from the shindig, and I've completely forgot it. So I'm just going to move on to the shindig, which we've all been to, yes?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yay! Wicked.
I hope it was me there, because if it wasn't me, who was it?
Who the fuck was it? Yeah, so, yes, to everyone who turned up, thank you very much for turning up.
Yes, indeed. It was great.
Yeah, it was a good evening, one and all, except for that fucking sozzled old bird and Mr. Owl. No. No, so Mr. Owl, turned up, didn't he? He was,
yes.
Yeah, and... yeah, and every picture of you, Elton, seems to be you being rather miffed. Were you pissed off?
I love that one of you looking at Andy. That just really was such a great picture.
That is like the front of a Derek and Clive album, isn't it?
Fucking
yeah. Fucking what?
How fucking dare you?
Yeah. But it was a good evening. Really glad to see so many people, especially new people, and you know, and thank you once again to Gareth the Proton Thomas for digging us out of a hole by pointing us that direction of that venue, which I think is likely to become our sort of venue of choice.
I think we should, because it's a lovely little pub. That
it was nice.
Yeah, the whole area up there is just lovely done. The staff were absolutely brilliant in there.
Isaac, if he's listening, because he said he was going to listen.
Did he?
Yeah. So let's not say anything wrong about the pub. It was a nice pub, actually.
It's a very nice pub.
Yep.
I like it in there.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yep.
And
the pies were top notch.
Yeah, the pies were
certainly
top notch. Exactly. Yeah, they were really cool. And
It was supposed to be a 2-pie night, and I forgot to have the first pie.
I could have the second pie, so we balanced out there.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Hold on, a 2-pie night. What the hell was that? What did I miss?
I like that 2-pie night.
2-pie night. Is that like a sort of weird Batman spin-off?
Well, we got in there, and we were all looking at the. This was just before you turned up. We were all looking at the menus. And I was going, what one can I have? What one can I have? And Jim looked at me, looked over his glasses and went, maybe it's a 2-pie night. And I just knew exactly what that meant. I was like, ooh, I like your style.
Nice.
It's a game of 2 pies.
Game of 2 pies. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great evening. I had a lot of fun. Though I have to say, I suddenly realised precisely how much bandwidth Facebook's live video used up.
Really?
Yeah, because
have you used up your quota for the next sort of like 3 years?
Pretty much. I mean, literally that evening I finished, and as I got on the train on the way home with a rather gin-sozzled Roz, basically suddenly my phone went beep, beep, you've used up 80% of your data cap, and it's like, but I only started it last week. How have I used up 8 gig? So that was interesting. And yeah, Roz was a little worse for wear, but you know,
yes, she was, wasn't she?
She was, but she wasn't the only one. But you know, she got. I got her back here. She just crashed out on the sofa, and that was the end of it, really. And I just said, right, okay, I'm going to leave all the lights on so you can find the toilet. And she went, yeah, fine, whatever. That was it. I think I got about as far as I said, oh, do you want like toast or anything? No, I'm comfy. I was right, okay, fine. Do you want paracetamol? Oh, yes. Gave her a paracetamol. Came back in like with a slice of toast in my hand, and all I could hear was so there, job done. So once again, a full endorsement for how comfy my sofa is.
Yep.
Please tell me you balanced the toast.
No, I was a perfect gentleman. I just simply turned the light out in the living room and went upstairs. And then left loads of notes around upstairs saying, kids, don't be alarmed. There is a lady asleep on the sofa downstairs. She's very nice. Her name is Roz. Just leave her alone. She's going to be a little bit under the weather, quote unquote.
And was she the next day?
I don't know, because I was very under the weather. I was in a hangover state that I have not been in for a very long time. I was in such pain. Proper, like, it was literally like someone had picked me up with 2 big hands and literally grabbed my ears and tried to pull them off.
Wow.
I've never felt so angry. And you know what? You know when you get angry as well, when you're lying on the bed and you just think, I should be comfortable and I should be going to sleep, but why can't I go to sleep? Because I'm so fucking drunk, but I need to go to sleep. But why can't I go to sleep? And then I spent from 4 o'clock in the morning till the moment I nodded off, which was about 10:15, when I then woke up about 5 minutes later and Roz was sort of saying goodbye to Carol. They're leaving. But with the fucking theme tune to Stranger Things on constant loop for 6 fucking hours in my head. I couldn't get rid of it.
Wonderful.
It's like, change the fucking tone. Just change it up a key. Drop it a bit. It's something, anything. Fuck.
Well, it seems I fared a little bit better than you then the next day, because not only was I treated to ultra violence by watching, was it the Raid 2?
Yeah.
But because we had Chris Lancaster staying with us, and of course one of the many advantages of having Chris Lancaster stay with you is the fact that he makes a fantastic fry-up. So he bought this loaf of bread that was about 400 foot long and just filled it with bacon and egg and sausage and just said, "Have this."
Well, I'm not.
You.
Well, all I'm saying, Chris, is speak to Roz on the Facebook group. She can endorse that my sofa is comfy. Come and make breakfast for me next time. Next shindig, the sofa's yours, dude. I need a loaf long bacon sarnie.
No. He's ours. That's it.
No, I'll fight you for him. I shall fight you for him. Thunderdome. Oh,
Custody of Chris.
Custody of it's not so much a custody of Chris, more a custody of securing one's bacon sarnie intake in the morning.
It's like Kramer versus fucking Kramer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got the Uber cab with Darren and Chris on the way home.
Mm.
And at one point, we couldn't tell who was more asleep, either the driver or Darren.
Oh, yeah.
Because fucking hell, he was all over the place.
But I think he actually leant against the steering wheel and went round in a circle because Chris leant over and said,
he did.
"Excuse me, mate." He said to him, "Why have you just gone round the same road again that you just went round 2 minutes ago?" I went, "Oh, did I?" Yeah,
Says,
I think he
why
tried.
have you just taken 4 left turns?
Oh, that's it. Yes, that's what he said to him.
Nice.
Cheeky bastard.
Ah, well, there you go. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are other stories, but like I say, I was kind of all over the place a bit. But again, it was lovely to see everyone.
It was great.
It was a great
Really,
venue.
really good.
It was lovely to get a little bit of video up on Facebook to at least have them, Sean McGowan and Michael Cornett and Chris Johnson join us, and a couple of other people. In fact, there were some people actually in the pub joining us on the Facebook videos. Matt Jones and Duck Cartwright were both watching us through the video, and they were sitting like 5 feet away.
Yep.
The fuck. Well, there was everything. There was knitted Pokemon. There was.
Oh, I almost ejected someone from the party, and I realised they were actually passed off.
Oh God.
I was going to go for the kill, and they went, "Darren, leave him. He works here."
He fucking works here. Yeah, you were on a bit of a mission that night.
I'm always, every time we have a shindig, it doesn't. It's like a fucking spider sense. It really is. It's just I know when they don't belong. I don't know. Maybe it's something about the way they smell or what. Maybe their eyes are too close together.
Well, there was that old couple who turned up and they were looking for a place to sit, weren't they? And all of a sudden
I was there.
Loomed at them.
I think my party shot to them was "Go in peace, brothers."
Go in peace, brother. Fuck's sake.
Somebody actually said, "Did you just say fucking go in peace?" Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. And I'll thank you not to bring it up again.
But actually, Pete Hammond was ready to get up and give me assistance. He was like, "He's my backup now."
That's
This is
it. You were the Wonder Twins.
Yes.
Anyway, form of bouncer.
If they get a bit disagreeable, just Pete suddenly just rises up behind me like the sun over the horizon. It's just like, "Okay, we'll go then."
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we'd started. Oh dear. Anyway. Yes. Anyone else got anything to say about the shindig? Because I was going to say for this quick, how was your week? We're almost into an hour.
Now, all I would say is I thoroughly enjoyed that venue. So next time, please let that be the venue next time.
Yeah. And anyone who feels like jumping on Yelp and giving the Ship and Shovel a good fucking kick in, by all means,
please do.
I left a nice, interesting review on there.
Interesting package on there.
Yeah. No, I left a nice, interesting review on their Facebook page, which is quite funny.
How hard it is to shit into a Five Guys bag,
while still retaining the fries. Anyway, there was something else about fucking doing voiceovers, but it doesn't matter. It's not that interesting. Right, okay, well, let's move on, shall we?
Let's do that.
Right, okay. Well, I think it's time for the first of Educating Elton 3 weeks with Das Boot. You've seen fuck all! Right, okay, so that's Educating Elton jingle, hastily put together in 35 seconds, or possibly 10 minutes hunting around. Anyway, so welcome to the first of Educating Elton month, and we are going to be doing Das Boot, or Das Boat, depending on how you do your pronunciations. Also German, meaning the boat. There you go, who knew? It's a 1981 German epic war film written and directed by Wolfgang Petersen, produced by Gunther Rothbach, and starring Jürgen Prochnow. Hey, see, look, I'm getting good with these name pronunciations. I'm doing well.
He's the only actor I know in that, Jürgen Prochnow.
Yeah. Herbert Grönemeyer and Klaus Wennermann. I can guarantee you Mick Bartz in Germany is now sort of going, you called him what? Yeah, people call Romani, they go Yaus. Anyway, it was been exhibited as both a theatrical release and a TV miniseries, and several different home video versions with various running times. An adaptation of Lothar Gunther Bachem's 1973 German novel of the same name. The film is set during World War II and tells the fictional story of the U-96 and its crew. It depicts both the excitement of the battle and the tedium and the fruit of the fruitless hunt, and shows men serving aboard U-boats as ordinary individuals with a desire to do their best for their comrades and their country. The screenplay uses an amalgamation of exploits from the real U-96, a Type VIIC class U-boat. Development began in 1979. Several American directors were considered 3 years earlier before the film was shelved, and during production, Heinrich Lerman Wellenbach, the captain of the real U-96 and one of the Germany's top U-boat tonnage aces during the war. I can hear myself. That was weird. I can hear it again. I'm getting echoes.
Sorry, my wireless headphones just failed.
There you go. Brilliant. Okay, that's fine. No problems. I just suddenly thought, oh, Christ, my brain's gone. I'm having a stroke. Anyway, U-boat tonnage aces during the war, and Hans Joachim Krug, former first officer of the U-219, served as consultants. One of Petersen's goals was to guide the audience through a journey to the edge of their minds. The German tagline, Ein Reis ans Ende des Versandes, is showing what war is all about. It probably doesn't. I probably just said 3 cows in a field by that pronunciation.
My auntie's pen is in the garden.
Hold on to your panties, Sir William. I cannot wait any longer. Anyway, the production had a budget of 32 million Deutschmarks, which is around $18.5 million. The film was released in September 17th, 1981. Oh, there you go. So not long ago. No, it's almost an anniversary. And was later released again in 1997 as director's cut, which was version supervised by Petersen. And it grossed... Darren, how much do you think it made?
I don't know, 30 million.
Right. Jim?
80 million.
Okay. Elton?
50 million.
Jim was bang on the money. It grossed over $80 million, which is $208 million in 2015 prices. So there you go. Yeah, it received high critical acclaim, and its high production cost ranks it as one of the most expensive films in the history of German cinema. So, that's that. That's the wiki. So, obviously, this is Educating Elton month, so what we're going to do is we're going to go round the table, and Elton will be last, so we can get his opinion on this film for the first time ever. So, starting off, let's go to Jim. Jim, how did you find this film this time, and what version did you watch?
I watched the full-fat director's cut.
Nice. Cool, yeah.
Which I believe isn't actually the longest version.
No.
I believe that is the 3-ton box set Viewmaster version is the longest.
It comes with its own click-clack. You go around in like
it comes with a beard trimming kit, because by the time the fucking thing's over, you've grown one.
Yeah, comes
Pasty-faced, red rings around your eyes. You look like Jürgen Prochnow.
It comes with its own family tree.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, go carry on, Jim. Sorry.
So yes, I thought I'll get an early start on this. It is a long film. I left myself the option of doing it in a couple of parts. But as it was, it's kind of. I mean, this is just a really truly great film. I'd forgotten actually how good this was. I know it's very, very long, but kind of that's the point.
Yeah,
because it really is. It's a proper slice of life. Of kind of, you are going to go out on this patrol with these guys, and however long it takes, and I mean, it's just so beautifully shot. The sets, the cinematography, the cast are all top notch, and it's one of those films you could take lots of frames from it and just blow them up and stick them in a big gilt frame, and have they would look like a classic old oil painting. All these great... Because, I mean, one of the things I loved about this film is all the cast have all got, like, great faces. They all look like real people.
Yeah.
And in the lighting in that submarine, sometimes it's blue, some of them got the classic red lights on.
Yeah.
And, you could just take all those faces, they're getting more bearded and pallid and looking more and more like lost souls in Hades as the movie goes on. You could just snap frame it and you'd have, something look like an old master. And I mean, it's one of those films that just really, I think, I'll be interested to hear the feedback, because some people might be bored shitless. But for me, it's one of those films that kind of, I was aware it was going on for a long time, but it's kind of like, no, I'm here to the end now. I'm just sucked into it,
Yeah.
And I mean, what I particularly noticed sort of watching it sort of now, I've not seen it for a good few years, and so a bit older, a bit wiser. What I really appreciated was the way it approached the subject matter. It really didn't overplay that kind of war is naughty, very, very naughty, and people who do it should be sent to bed early kind of moralizing tone. And likewise, it didn't play going, hey guys, yes, these are Germans, but they're not Nazis, and the Nazis are bad, but these guys are just good guys, just doing the job. It doesn't overplay that. It doesn't make excuses for them, that they're it's the right soldiers, sailors doing their job, and they don't like the British, they don't like high command, know what I mean? They think the top brass are arseholes, and it's very approached sort of humanistically. You know what I mean? You could change the nationality of this crew and change the war, and it wouldn't really make a difference. Yeah, because the story is about the realities of going to war, and it doesn't isn't really even overplay the kind of the dreams of glory, tattered and torn by reality. Yeah. I mean, that is in there, but it's done in such an understated fashion, without making a big deal about it, and that I think what makes it so powerful. Yeah, and I mean, I was interested to read that the original novelist, he really didn't like the film, and he accused it of just glorifying the U-boat war and fusing it with trite American action. Oh, and maybe from a German perspective, that's how it plays. But for someone watching it, as a non-German, it's kind of, I really sort of actually felt it. It didn't do those things at all. It really, at the spoilers, the end, when the Allied planes go over and blow the shit out of everything, you just think, bastards. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't. It's not a partisan reaction. It's a human reaction of these poor sods. Because you had this magnificent shot of when they're sailing back into the harbour and these people tootling around bands and throwing flowers, and they look like the living dead lined up on the top of that U-boat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they're just looking kind of like, I don't give a toss about your brass band. Just get me the fuck off this boat.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
can we stop and can I just get the fuck away from here now?
Yeah.
I need to see some sunlight. I need a drink the size of a bath. Just fuck off with your flowers and your brass band. Just park this thing now.
Yeah. If need be, I will jump off this fucking thing and swim to the dock.
But you know, it's. I think it's just such a wonderful drama, and it's just. I mean, it really throws other submarine movies absolutely into the shade.
Yeah.
You realise the Red October is the size of Buckingham Palace compared to what a real U-boat is like.
Yeah.
And it's just so much of the little details. It's like the fact that it's like, you know, it's chocked to the gills with food hanging up everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they set off.
Yeah. Yeah. All the bananas, thousands of bananas. I remember that. The whole.
Yeah. But it's fairly grim and fairly tense, but there's wonderful moments of humour and pathos, but not overplayed, but just in that kind of realistic fashion, you know what I mean? It knows if you're with the film, it doesn't need to overplay its hand and hammer the point home.
Yeah.
You just pick up like the redemption of Johan, the engineering officer who has a freak out, and the captain sort of no court martial for you, I understand, but he gets to repair the engines. Yeah. And he has that moment of redemption, but they don't make a big speech about it. No. It's just all stunning glances, and you know. These are unspoken communication. There's so much of that in this movie. I mean, I just say I had an absolute blast watching this again. Yeah. You know, to the point in that when they just scuttled on the bottom, they're just gasping for air and sweating with them. You know, and that's what I took away from I remember when I was first watching. Me and a friend watched it on TV. It was kind of like, oh my god, you got to see Das Boot. It's like you're there, you know. Yeah. And it still holds up. And if anything, I appreciate the film far more now. You know, on a technical level and an artistic level. And, I mean, it's said, you know, widely hailed as one of the best German movies ever made, and I'd say I think it's probably one of the best movies ever made. Full stop. It's top tier because it is just a magnificent piece of work. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, there you go. I think that's it. Thanks everyone for listening. We're off now. No, that was super. I mean, that is superb. I mean, I think I agree absolutely with everything of that, But before I get to my opinion, what about you, Dal? What do you think?
Right. Well, while he was still alive, God bless his heart, my granddad always said to me, he said, you know what, son? He said, the war films you see, he said, they don't give the German soldiers enough credit because they always portray them as really stupid and stuff like this. He said, they weren't like that at all.
Was he sitting in his Nazi gear?
Yeah.
In his chair.
But no, it's like, you know, he's had first-hand experience of these guys. He knows what it's all about. And I have to say, this film is kind of embodies that whole thing because you watch something like Das Boot and you realise how the sort of like the normal foot soldier, you know, the guys in the background there, the guys in the subs, that sort of thing. The one, not the glory hunters, but the sort of like the workhorses of the Wehrmacht, right? How they're treated in films and how they're not that. I mean, I know they were the enemy. I know they were the evil in the world and everything, but there's not that respect given to what they were actually like. Now, from what I understand, a lot of the sort of like the foot soldiers, stuff like this, they didn't know what was actually going on with things like concentration camps and stuff like this. A lot of the public weren't told about this, and it was only until the Allies found it that all that kind of thing came out. And this film actually shows that as well, right? As Jim's pointed out, these are guys just wanting to do the bit for their country. And I think one of the key scenes in this is when they've been submerged after they hit the convoy. They go down for 6 hours and they come up and they're like, oh look, there's the two boats we've torpedoed, right? Okay, there's that one over there, let's finish it off, let's completely sink it. And they launch the torpedoes hit that one wreck and it goes up, and then somebody goes, there's still men on board.
Yeah.
And it's their reaction to the fact that they're watching these people burn.
Yeah.
And you just see Jürgen Prochnow face just drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like the guy next to him bursts into tears.
Mm.
And it's that kind of thing that really knocks the stereotype of how these sort of, how they were portrayed in films.
Yeah.
A lot of them were just people believing they were fighting for their country.
Yeah.
I know this is a bit flippant, but there's a comedy sketch.
It's a bit late now.
No, but there's a comedy sketch with not Miller and Thingy. It's the guys who are in Peep Show.
Oh, you're talking
Mitchell
about
and Webb.
Mitchell and Webb, right? Where you've got them standing there and they're in German officer uniforms, like they've got big skulls on the hats.
Yeah.
And David Mitchell turns to Robert Webb and goes, "Are we the baddies?" And it's like, I know that's a joke, but it's kind of you can imagine them finding out all this other shit going on and realising that oh shit, we were the bad guys.
Yeah.
So it's those little moments like that where that whole thing, which really kind of turns the whole stereotype on its head, gets rid of it. And it's the another thing as well. Another stereotype is the German army. They're all supposed to be really precise and everything's supposed to be running like clockwork.
Yeah.
But you see when they first get on the boat, and it's the way Prochnow sort of like he addresses his troops, and they're not all standing there sort of like, and he's smirking at them, and they're smirking back at him, and it's a real kind of love for their commander, and that vice versa, and these guys are going to follow. They're following this bloke into battle for a reason because they trust him, and I like that whole kind of family. And you can tell when they get like that new member comes on board, the very precise officer. They're watching him. They're sitting there watching him eat his fucking pork chops, and they're like tucking into him, and he's like cutting the meat off the bone, separating this, that, and the other, and they're all looking at each other like, "What a cunt!"
Exactly. Yeah. He's a guy who's just coming from, where is it? Argentina, wasn't it, or Brazil?
Mexico.
That's it.
Yeah, and he goes, "As a German, I thought I needed to be here."
Yeah,
and they were like, "You fucking twat."
Yeah,
seriously,
Yeah.
So I really like that. And it's just the fact that the submarines in this, the representation of them is they're just a corridor with fins on them. That's all they are,
Pretty
right?
much,
and torpedoes. And the fact that you've got all the food, sort of like stored all over the place. These things weren't great to be in. They're just a fucking tube. That's it. That's all they are. Because what really annoys me about some submarine films. And I'm talking about things like Hunt for the Red October and shit like this.
Yeah.
You've got like an officer's mess, and you've got a mess for the things to eat in, and there's like literally a city inside this fucking floating death trap.
Shopping mall.
Exactly. They've got like fucking take a dip in its heated plunge pool, rest in its roof gardens. And it's like...
Get your keys cut down the end.
Oh, let's go to the cinema. There's a multiplex in the next section over there.
Shine your shoes, sir.
Shoe shine.
Where are you going on holiday? Oh, I'm going in section H. There's a beach and everything. Fucking hell,
the reality is there's 2 toilets for 50 men, and one of them is full of food.
Yeah, so there's one toilet. Did you see also...
So's the other one, but in the wrong way.
Did you see also above one of the loos, it's getting near the end of the film, and you've got the reporter standing outside, he wants to go for a shit. And you look above the door of the toilet, and there's like somebody's drawn an arse on the door.
An arse with an anchor tattoo on it.
Yeah, I've got an awful lot of love for this movie. It's just, I like the way it represents the realism. There's sort of this dirty sort of, this is how it really was. These guys are underneath the ocean. And it's another thing as well, it's like you get a vision of the future at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
When they're inside that place and they're all having a party, and they bring in that captain who goes up on stage and he just stops himself from saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because he's going on about Hitler being, oh, look, yes, he was a painter and, he'd done well for himself, hadn't he? Look, And in his infinite wisdom, and as he goes to say something, he sees those 2 blokes looking really angry in the audience. And then he realises, like, they might be with the SS.
Yeah.
So, and yes, he's a fabulous bloke, really. You told us to stick the cigar up Winston Churchill's arse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the father Jack of the submarine naval corps.
Exactly. But you look at him, you compare him, and you compare Jürgen Prochnow at the beginning of the film, the rest of the crew. Everybody's looking really fresh-faced, but you look at this bloke, he is literally one of the living dead, right? The guy that's completely drunk.
He's literally just come back, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And it's you look at them at the end, and they are all like that. And that's another thing as well, with the comment that one of that the captain makes to the reporter.
Yeah.
And he says, I think it's him, he says, don't take pictures of them now. Wait till they come back.
Yeah.
Because they'll all have beards then.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it looks like a bunch of school kids riding a submarine.
Yeah.
And he's really frightened about the wrong impression being put across to the British. And that's another thing as well, the respect the captain has for the British forces. Even when he goes, they've stopped making mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's that, I love that. It's great. It's just such a, it really doesn't play to the standard sort of, the way the Americans would make a war film, the sort of schlocky war film.
Yeah.
This is nothing
Fucking
like that.
Bon Jovi on board.
Yeah, you go from this to U57 fucking 1, which I'm never watching.
Yeah.
At all. That will be the second cast I won't be on. I will not touch that with a 10-foot barge pole.
Don't worry, it won't happen. It won't happen.
Good. Excellent stuff.
I've already been threatened by Andy, who was going to be on this week's cast, but his work commitments have stopped him from being here. But he's already said that if I put U571 on the docket, he's actually going to take a tire iron to my kneecaps. So I tend to be rather attached to my kneecaps. So I said no, I won't do that. Even though it's quite funny to watch John Bon Jovi blow up with his hair on fire. That's always funny.
There you go. I don't care if you spoil it for me. I'm not really bothered.
No, he does. He gets blown up.
Yeah.
He gets blown up, and you actually see the back of his head, which is a doll of John Bon Jovi, and you just literally see this silhouette of his head on fire as he falls into the water.
Bob, your heir to a fortune. Bon Jovi, your hair's on fire.
Exactly.
Very much.
Yeah.
So another thing as well, it's a punishing film, this one. It goes through all of that, takes you through this entire journey, gets you to the point where you think they're done for, and they manage to just claw it back, and you actually kind of sit there and you're really kind of willing them to get back on and to do this thing, and they all pull together and they manage to do it. And as you say, Jim, about the whole redemption of the engineer, that kind of thing, and you've got the other guy that's on there as well, the one that's like, Captain says to him, why don't you go and have a rest now? And he says, just a couple more problems to take care of.
Yeah, and the first officer, isn't it?
Yeah, the chief.
And he's literally ready to drop on his feet, that kind of thing. And then they bring you up, and they escape, and it's this beautiful poetic thing of flying through the water and screaming, yes, we've done it.
Yeah.
And then they get back.
They shoot everyone.
It's like that scene from fucking Last Crusade. Well, sort of like Sean Connery goes, well, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, it doesn't come closer than that. Yeah. It's literally like the end of Blackadder 2.
It is. It's so... It's terrible. And all the people screaming. At one point, it sounds like there's... like the noise you get from a football stadium when they score a goal? The screaming is like that at one point. So, it's a great film. Such a great movie. I really am pleased we watched it.
Cool.
I had to do it in several parts, but, I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, for me, I know Elton's the final word on this one, but so I'll try and keep my bit brief, but because really I haven't got an awful lot to add beyond what you guys have already said. I mean, I think it's beautifully shot. I think it's really well constructed, and I love how it does play with your preconceptions. So when you first see them all rowdying it up and pissing on the car,
I love that bit, by the way, when he goes by the piss on the car.
Yeah, and the guy's sort of just drunk in the middle of the road and all this sort of thing, and you're thinking, what a bunch of twats. And then you essentially see in them what the captain sees, and you see what they all go through. So you kind of, by the end of the film, you kind of understand why they kind of go off the rails when they get back on land. Because it's like, it's reaffirming their life. It's like, oh Christ, we're back! Hooray! Live every day like it's your last, kind of thing, And that I really did enjoy it, because I mean the thing is, last time I watched this was years ago when it was on BBC Two, and I watched it in dribs and drabs, and I never saw the whole thing. This time round, I watched it, and I kind of was very aware of the runtime, thinking, okay, here we go. But by the time they engaged the first destroyer, I suddenly found that I wasn't just doing my usual, which is basically slouching on the sofa, just kind of watching the film and then kind of making notes every now and again. I was actually sitting bolt upright, leaning forward. Okay, here we go. What's going to happen next? And I think the way the tension and the way it draws you in is masterful. I mean, it literally, you start off either being indifferent to these people or just thinking, oh, it's just a bunch of arsehole sailors who are all going to be arseholes. But by the end of it, you're like, oh, God, no, oh, no. And then when that guy fucking gets shot by the plane up in the, in the con tower, and they're trying to keep him quiet while they're all sitting on the bottom of the sea, and everything's just tension. And you're like, fucking hell, fire. I think by about 3/4 of the way through, my shoulders were literally up round my ears, and my toes had sort of curled into a kind of like a kind of thing where I had to massage my feet just to get myself into a sort of walking position. And I thought it was so well done. There was one thing, well, apart from the ending, which I thought was a bit of a cheat. I didn't like the sudden bombing and everyone dead. I thought that was too much like, oh, we've just got to bring it to a sort of, Cross of Iron style, let's end it on a low note because war is hell. Oh, they're all dead, senseless, isn't it? The end. I mean, I understand why they did it, but to me that just felt like a bit of a cheat. But the one thing that really annoyed me was there was a bit when they're chasing the convoy in the fog. Yeah. And there's all that water flying up and everything. And basically, on the back projection wall, someone had obviously not pasted it down right, and so there was this black line running right down the middle of it, and I couldn't take my eyes off it.
I can see that.
Yeah. They fixed it. They fixed it for most of the shots, everything else. But there's that one bit right at the beginning. When not in the beginning, when the reporter's up on the con tower, and there's water flying at him and all this sort of thing. And literally, I think the back projection wall got wet because like I say, the thing that they're projecting on is starting to come away from the wall, and there was this little black line. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. But luckily, they fixed it for everything else, all the other shots. But it was just like, I mean, but then again, like, it's all I'm saying is when you're looking at a back projection and that's the worst you can come up with for a film made in 1981, it's like, that's not really a criticism. That's just a technical limitation. And I thought all the submarine scenes were really well done. I mean, some of them were obviously, Thunderbird-style models in a bath.
Yeah.
With the water played very slowly so it looks like big waves. But for the most part, I thought it really worked well. The whole sequence with them on the bottom of the sea, literally stuck down at 250 meters, and the whole boat's going. I have to say, that's the kind of uncomfortable, trapped in a situation. Well, let's put it this way: I'm not going to spoil anything, but Jim, Borderlands. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yes.
Yep. There's a whole thing which just you watch it and you just think, get me the fuck out of here, get me the fuck out of here right now, the fuck out now, fuck no, I don't want to be here, thank you, fuck you right in the ear. Open the door, I'll swim up 250 metres, I'll hold my breath and just float. just get me the fuck out of this thing.
That reminds me of one tiny bit, the Bishop from Aliens moment, where you had the second in command, gets on that fucking tea trolley, right, lays on his back and goes under the board, and there's like about 2 centimetre clearance from his fucking face to what the thing he slides under to go down underneath to go through.
And it's pissing water everywhere as well.
Exactly, and it's like, stop it.
It's not good for anyone with even the mildest of claustrophobia. Let's put it that way.
No.
If you don't have claustrophobia before you watch this film, afterwards you will.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because I think you know that any one of those leaks could be the one that just rips that U-boat apart and it's game over.
Especially when the bolts start flying off due to the pressure.
That's terrifying when the bolts pop. It's going to, oh shit!
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
like,
fall.
yeah, it's like when one shoots through some guy's arm, and it's like, oh god, now they're literally sitting in their own gun, being shot at by their own ship. I'm repeating what you guys have already said, so I'll skip over it quite lightly. But I love that humanist angle that it is just people doing a job, and it could have been anyone.
Yeah,
it wasn't Steven Spielberg comedy Nazis from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It wasn't some sort of Richard Burton walking around going, "Yes, I'm a Welshman and I'm a Nazi general. Yes, schnell, schnell." And it wasn't any of that stuff. It wasn't James Coburn in Cross of Iron sort of trying to do an American drawl but sticking Z in the middle of everything. I mean, it was a really, really well done portrayal of just men doing their job because they've been told to do it, and the only thing they've got is essentially each other.
Oh, and the kid as well. The kid who's got the pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah.
The bit where he thinks he's going to get the letters finally to her, and the reporter comes back and says, they're not letting us off the boat. And he has to hand him back the package.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that whole thing with when they restock.
I didn't
party.
know how that was going to fucking go when he's on the boat. You could see the captain. It's like, is he gonna turn around and whack this bloke in the face?
Yeah,
because he's like, or is he going to demand to have his crew brought up to the boat to share in the food?
Yeah,
because he just didn't. You couldn't tell where it was going to go.
No, exactly.
It was just like,
There's all you can
yeah. And then there's also that bloke who seemed to be able to eat anything with his lemon juice and carnation condensed milk drink.
Oh, that one.
Oh God.
but he
called it undersea cocktail or something.
Exactly. But it kind of shows you how far you've almost dropped when that happens, and you kind of like, oh. It's like, I've seen everything now. They've been shitting in their own food store. Everyone smell clearly. Even just looking at it, you can see they all smell like boiled bacon wrapped in feet. I mean,
I thought it was bad when they were cutting the mold off the bread.
Oh, God!
Yeah.
And off the meat. The meat's a little hairy.
What was it you said about mildew? It's good for you, isn't it? It's the closest thing we've got to lettuce.
So. Anyway, all I'm going to say is, like I say, apart from the very ending, which I kind of felt was a bit of a cheat, and I could have ended it 5 minutes before and been perfectly happy with it, I love this film. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a masterpiece, and all the plaudits it gets, it fucking deserves. And in some ways, although I don't feel the need to watch it again very soon, I think the next time I watch it, I might watch the longer version, because I just think the way that it kind of, that tension builds up because of the monotony of it, if you know what I mean. I think that's really well done.
Oh, that bit where they have they do the little dance act. The bloke in the fucking grass skirt with the ping pong balls and boobs. It's like, Jesus fucking H. Christ.
Well,
what have they become?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Well, by that point, you've seen guys drinking carnation milk and lemon juice, and it's like, yeah, I understand this now. You're in that cabin fever situation with them. Once you've been to 250 metres under the water and you're sitting in essentially something that could be turned into a baked bean can under a car tyre, it's just like, yeah, fine. You know what? If it makes you happy, put the grass skirt up your arse. It's fine. Do whatever you like. Just go for it. Whatever gets you through the day. So that's me done. So, Educating Elton month. This obviously is a film you've never seen before, Elton.
That's right.
What did you think?
Okay, well, I am going to repeat everything that you guys have said anyway. I don't care. It deserves it.
It's fine. You haven't seen it before, so this is the whole point. So go for it. Whatever you feel you need to say, sir.
This was incredible. This was so good. It's so tightly shot. You don't feel part of the crew. You feel more like the U-boat itself. And these guys are inside you. And you're living the dream with them. And
Full of semen. Right.
You're full of semen.
There we go.
It's long out and filled with semen.
But
Okay.
it is a true epic. It is a masterpiece. But it deserves to be 3+ hours long. But you need it.
Yeah.
You need it for that. You need it for the depth of story that you've got. You've got such a beautiful battles that you don't see, yet you know exactly what is going on.
Yeah.
When you've got the depth charge, when you've got the destroyer after them,
Yeah.
and all you can hear is
Yeah.
just passing overhead. You need that time there to elongate that, because these aren't dogfights. These are more chess games that they're playing with the boats. And chess is not done within 10 seconds.
No.
I think a lot of dogfights are pretty much over within a minute. That is it. It's all done.
What's that great moment the captain says, and this, gentleman, is where it gets psychological.
Yeah. That's very true. Because it is that. Because when that happened, I was kind of like, okay, here we go. You know, I thought it was just like, this is where Sean Connery nicked his, we had a game of chess. But, you know, all he does is he looks on a fucking radar and 6 people go, yeah, he's coming in from the left. He's a bit, he's a bit brassed off. He's coming in. He's got a bit of a limp, blah, 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 blah. Let's go down 10 feet and he'll go right over our heads.
While he's in his underwater condo.
Yeah.
His self-contained city.
I'll be up in the penthouse suite. Anyway. But,
I'm going to take a train to the end of the shop. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm taking the monorail. If anybody wants me, I'll be in my car.
I'll bring you back a stick of rock. Or maybe some humbugs. Or maybe one of those plates with egg and bacon on them, you know.
Once I'll come back from the catering cart.
Then I'm going to go on Space Mountain.
I'm going potholing next week as well.
Down the front. Hey, Sham Neil, do you ever fancy going up the climbing wall with me?
You should really try the hang gliding experience we have in Sector 247.
I've invited half the crew to play bowling with me. You really should go on the golf course.
Oh, wait a minute. My favourite team's playing in the stadium.
Up by the engines. Oh, I really wish we'd done Fun for Red October after this.
We'd have kicked it to fuck, wouldn't we?
We would have curb stomped it to the fucking curb. Oh, dear.
To quote the great Derek and Clive, we'd have fucking kicked his fucking cunt in.
Sure, if you like to park your car in the multi-story car park.
Right, I'm off to meet my wife at the airport.
The Red October's got its own flag because it's an entire fucking country. Yeah. Anyway.
That's no shop. That's an industrial estate.
I'm off down to Clark's to get some new shoes. Anyway, go and carry on, Elton. Sorry.
I just keep having visions of the Hunt for Red October with the Hunt for Red October inside it. He goes on that, and then inside that one, he's just Russian dolls all the way down.
I'm taking a submarine down the end of the submarine. I'm going through the underground sewer system.
Have you checked out the marina? The velodrome. Have you been there? Bradley fucking Williams is doing a fucking circuit.
Give it a while. We're holding the Olympics down the front. And go through the Olympic Village. Anyway, sorry. Go on, Elton. Go on.
Oh God, my face hurts.
Don't worry, we've got a tanning salon up the back.
Next week, we're putting a satellite into orbit.
Our own radio station. Anyway, go on. Carry on, sorry.
Okay. Right. My granddad used to be on a submarine, and he didn't talk about it a lot.
No.
But he said that it was... You could just about pass in the corridor that they had. It was so tight in there. And this is just a beautiful representation of that. The way that your first shots of the interior are from front to back, aft to stern, I suppose.
Oh, look at you with your nautical terms.
Look at that. But you get the whole run of the whole thing. It's just there's so many things about this. The way when they want to dive really quickly, everyone has to fucking shuffle up to the front to get that fucking nose down.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we got to come up. Oh, fucking shuffle all the way back to the other
All down
end.
the back.
Hold on, fellas. I've got an idea.
Everyone, down the back.
It's a long way to Tipperary.
But that is just beautiful. I just love it. The way the people just, they know what's going on, so everyone gets out of the way and they clear the way and everyone shuffles through the doors. There's
You got
bits-
men going for crabs inspections while the officers are having their dinner.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Not only does the radar guy spend all day shitting himself listening for destroyers, but then afterwards, when he's got his days off, he's looking at 100 cocks. And it's like, it's your living.
But there was shots when they're running in between the bulkheads on the ship, and there was one shot where someone laid down in front of someone so they could jump over it to get past him quicker.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking everyone knows their place, and it works so well. This was a crew on this ship, and the captain himself, I'd follow him anywhere. I'd follow him down to fucking Tesco's right now if he turned up at my house.
Don't worry, that's deck 15 on the Red October.
But it was just, you guys have said it. These aren't Nazis. These are soldiers doing their job, and that is what you got. You got their full dress lineup before they got onto the ship, and they get onto a brand new ship, and you think, fucking hell, they're actually rubbing their hands at fucking hell. Look, we got a brand new boat here. It's not going to fall apart around us. And then they get on, and you expect them to be in their uniform. Straight away, they're in their big fluffy jumpers and their woolly zip-ups and stuff like that. And it's just, okay, now they're at home. And dress however you want. You still got a job to do. It's just brilliant. There's other little touches. The engineer listening to the sounds of the engine with one of them stethoscopes things.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
They fucking work them things. I've used one of them, and they really do work. And it's just a tiny little touch that's thrown in there that brings it back to like an industrial type thing. It just feels so good. The model work was, like you said, a bit Jerry Anderson.
Yeah.
Because water is a certain size, and when you start throwing a model boat around water, it does look a bit, okay, that's a bit too small for that.
Yeah.
But like you said, if I'm picking holes at that, then that's it. You got to love it for it. You really have got to love it for it. I do want to watch the full fat version of this.
Yeah.
I think it deserves it. It really does. The ending. The ending. I felt like you have been on a journey with these guys.
Yeah.
And you know that they have fucking slogged it out. And it is a bittersweet thing because you see these planes coming over and you hear the bombs and you think, oh fuck, no, don't kill them. But then you're like, hang on, I'm on the other side anyway. So you are really torn. it's a bizarre feeling. It really is.
Yeah.
But what else was I going to say?
Actually, that's a good point, because you notice that, and again, like in a lot of war films, they don't give like the German soldiers' point of view at all. You don't get to see any of that. They're just somebody who screams, "Alarm!" or "Achtung!"
Yeah.
And they did it that way with the British. They were very faceless. It was a faceless enemy. You didn't get to see them, so you kind of, it kind of switches the whole thing. It's that you feel sympathy for those characters that you understand. They're made to be human because you get to know them. You know,
but their motivations are very, very human. It's not. It's not a war footing. It's a job. That's the thing. It's not someone sitting there spouting, Third Reich 1,000-year rule rhetoric. It's literally.
But you notice the people that are all smartly dressed, and you can tell these guys have never actually been to where the rest of this crew's been. They've been to fucking hell and back. They know what it's all about, and they see the whole joke of the situation. Whereas these people who are going on and saluting, you notice that as well when they were on the boat. The captain never said Heil Hitler, anything like that. He never saluted once.
No,
he just stayed quiet.
Yeah,
for most of the time.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, and also you get that sense that the people on the people resupplying the boat, the upper ups holding the dinner party, were all treating the submarine officers with a kind of, they've been through some shit, so we give them a little leeway. We don't expect them to do all this kind of stuff. They've just been through some stuff, but you never quite get the sense that they understand. They just know that they've run into sub crews before who are going to be like this. So just leave them be.
They go about, how many ships have you destroyed?
And it's like,
that's
one.
another thing in this as well. The whole thing of they're supposed to be the focus of this. Any other sort of war film, they'd have like 200 or 300 ships under their belt, where it's like, it's pot fucking luck that they found the convoy in the first place, and how unsure everything is. It's like when they get attacked by the first cruiser, he's looking round for it, and it is literally right on top of him. When he's like, shit,
fuck, everyone down the front.
Exactly. It's. I just see a speeded up version of them all moving. It's like a Benny Hill sketch,
Oh, when they're in the U-boat.
Yeah.
And then on one hand, hey, it's Thompson! And then they say, fucking idiots! What are we both doing here?
Yeah, we're in the wrong fucking place.
Yeah, that as well. So it's all a bit of a mess. All the charts are off.
Yeah.
We've got, our navigation's out.
Yeah. Well, you can't exactly navigate by the waves, can you, really?
Well, that's what the guy says. It's like, we've had one sunshot in so many days. And so it's like, I can't tell where we're going.
Yeah. Go on, carry on, Elton. Sorry, sorry.
No, well, Darren said about the faceless. The British are faceless, and the enemy being faceless. I think that's very true, and it comes into play when they do attack the boats or the convoy itself, and they attack it, and then they disappear for 6 hours, just so they can rescue their crew. And they give them that massive leeway because they're there just to stop the convoy. Their job is to stop the boats. They're not thinking about individual people.
No.
They're there to stop supplies and equipment being moved from one place to another. And they're there to stop that. And with the enemy not being shown, once they surface and then you see the burning bodies and jumping off, it all suddenly comes dawning on them. And it's such a realization that you're put into the captain's position of, fucking hell, there's actual people on there. They're actually burning. And, do we go help them? And he's like, no,
we can't.
Just back away slowly.
We can't take prisoners. We've got no room.
Yeah. No room and no resources.
But it's that thing of, that's what stops them from being monsters, is the fact that they're that disbelief of the British, of the actual Allies' mentality of you don't go back and rescue people from ships, because if the U-boats are still there and we're trying to rescue our crew, they'll take the rest of us out, so they just fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's Jurgen Prochnow not, he's got no idea of that. And it's like, they've been there for 6 hours, why didn't they rescue their crew? And it's an actual, it's a strategic decision, a cold-hearted strategic decision to just leave those men to die.
Yeah.
Because you've got to think about the rest of the convoy.
Yeah.
And it's that look of disbelief on their face.
Which in turn makes us the monsters that we always see the Nazis as being.
Yeah, there is there is that little bit of
role reversal.
Yeah. I think if it had shown the enemy's face, if it had sort of like, try to give those guys names and stuff like this, it would distract from what the point of the film, I think, is to show you the other side of that coin. Yeah. Sorry, Elton, I keep bloody interrupting.
That's all right. No, it's all good. It's all good.
There was another character in this movie. We have the ship and we have all the people on the ship as well. But the depth gauge.
Oh, yeah.
The depth gauge plays such an important role in this. And also the sounds of the boat creaking as well. Because when they first push the boat to its limit and get to, 150, 160?
Yeah.
And it's really creaking and everyone's really tense. And you're sat there going, I was sat there going, trying not to breathe just in case my next breath would pop it all out.
Squeaky bum time.
I love it when that officer is fucking... He's fucking with the head of the reporter. He's going about, we're built for 90 meters, but we can go a bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
But after a certain time, the pressure gets too much, and it can crush us like a tin can. And you could see the captain and the rest of the crew sort of like try to stifle a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the devilish look on his face.
Yeah.
He's watching the reporter all the time as they go deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, but the great little bit about that is that when they finally do start going to 200 and 220 and 250, that guy shuts the fuck up pretty darn swift.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's the same shot again, but now he's as wide-eyed as everyone else.
Yeah.
And you see everybody pulling together in those moments as well. Even the guy who's like with the Hitler Youth,
Yeah.
That's it. It's all like, there's none of this. He's not having a go at anybody. He's just chipping the fuck in,
One thing that did make me chuckle, though, I know you've got they had the bits where the bishop thing that Darren said about people going underneath and trying to fix welds and trying to fix batteries and tie batteries up together and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you had like a lumber yard somewhere. They had like a Travis Perkins just round the corner. They just got loads of
they just pulled alongside the Red October.
Yeah,
there's a B&Q. If you go 40 decks that way, okay, there's a B&Q there. There's a home base over the other side, just in case,
And there's also an Argos.
Yes. They do home delivery. Yes. It takes them 3 days to deliver because they're so far away. Yes. In fact, we almost have to pay airmail to get the delivery because it's so far away. I've got a helipad on top of my bedroom.
But I found that amusing, but I just guessed, okay, maybe they've just got them stowed away somewhere. But it was, it's just such a good movie. It really is. I have got other notes on it, but I'm lost on where I am at the moment. It was thoroughly entertaining.
Well, pick one.
And
Pick one. Go for it.
Flipping hell, I'm going to be buying this on its full completest unit that I can.
Yeah,
it's just tremendous.
The six part mini-series, I think, is the fullest version.
Yeah. I was speaking to Andy just after the shindig, and he did turn around and say that the first ballroom brawl type thing, he went, it's kind of like a Blackdog meet-up, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we haven't quite gone for the French German hookers and drunken speeches just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We've had a couple of drunken speeches.
Oh, didn't this week? Didn't this time? Did we?
No.
I thank God I was spared that having to do that.
Yeah, I think we just got on with it.
Yeah,
this
I
time,
think
so,
that's good.
you know.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Next time maybe. But yeah. I think that opening brawl. Yeah, that opening thing. Anyway,
Throwing an owl, pretty close.
Yeah,
Nails and a few pies.
Yeah, I was going to say fucking owl.
Hey, Johnson, where'd you get that burger and chips? They've opened the Five Guys on Deck C? Fantastic. I'm going there now.
Yeah.
On his little golf cart.
Down the end.
Let's have a race.
If anybody wants me, I'll be on the 17th hole. Anyway, right. Red October. We really did fuck up the timing because we would have given Red October such a kick in.
I'm just thinking silent running. You know them carts that are just driving around.
In fact, the fucking Red October is as big as the Valley Forge. It's just that's it. It's got.
It doesn't move in the sea. It's just lodged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes with the tectonic movement of the plate.
It doesn't even. No, it's not even that. It's so big, the crew just walk from one end of the planet to the other within the submarine.
Yeah, we'll just go through the forest.
Sean Connery got
Leaving
it.
on a jet plane so I can get down the fucking front of the submarine.
Sean Connery got it wedged in between America and Britain, a bit like Austin Powers got his car wedged in that corridor.
Going between Iceland and New England. Doink, 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 backwards and forwards.
I need to get to the torpedo room. Has anybody got the number for Uber?
Pick up, car 4. got 4 to take down front, and then, right. Let's stop it there and let's break out the feedback, or shall I go feedback alarm?
It's feedback time.
Right, okay, so feedback time. So, the first bit of feedback is from Murray the Pieman Christensen. And he's entitled it Dad Boot. Guten Tag, Herrs Metcalf, Barnard, Moon, McManus, and anyone else on des Schwarzhund. Bad German aside, a big thank you for giving me the impetus to watch Das Boot again. I don't know what edition I have. I think it's the theatrical cut, but some of the credits call it the director's cut. If it helps, it was about 3 hours and 33 minutes long and came on a blue DVD case. Now, this cut wasn't my first experience of Das Boot. In fact, it was the full fat miniseries. Now, it wasn't in the 1980s, but I'm more sprightly than that. But no, it was in 1999 when the BBC decided Das Boot was an excellent chippy choice for a repeat over Christmas. The reason I was slightly subdued on Hogmanay 1999 was not some pre-millennial malaise, it's because I just watched the end of Das Boot. As a war film, it is interesting on a number of levels. Obviously, it's unusual to have a World War II film set entirely from the point of view of the Nazis, a side that have been pretty much become shorthand for definite baddie. All of a sudden, we are meant to root for them and to kill the British sailors, foil our destroyers and advance the Reich. Of course, that isn't the point, and I think that's why it's so important. The crew we see may be fighting for the Nazis, but because we get to know them, we want them to survive. A real illustration of the idea that many people in wars fight not for king and country because they don't want themselves and their friends to die. Finally, outside of Vietnam War films, it is rare to have a film made from the point of view of the side that not only losing, but know they're losing. The cynicism of the experienced submariners is clear from the giant piss-up at the start. The other captain, Thompson, seems like he is about to launch into a savage attack on those in command before realising it may actually cause him trouble. Later, the captain himself goes on a rant about how much harder life has got, the lack of air support, the increase in effectiveness of the British, all held in comparison with the young Hitler youth officer who is slightly distractingly reminding me of Michael Gove. This is a crew who know the war is turning against them and furthermore know their superiors have no idea what to do about it. It's amazing how involving this film is. It took a few glances at the clock and a rewatch, and I noticed that it was at least 40 minutes in before there's any hint of a contact with the enemy. Again, this is because this is the point of the point of the film isn't launching torpedoes and avoiding depth charges, although that does manages to it manages a cat and mouse with destroyers remarkably well. This is about the life of a crew, what they all do at the time, not just when the action occurs. Another criticism could be the character of Werner, the war correspondent, who doesn't say much and mostly cries and sweats. He makes more sense when you read the book as it's written from his point of view. So in many ways, what you get is basically the genuine reaction of someone being stuffed in a metal tube while someone drops explosives on him. While I'm rambling on, I must mention the last scene, specifically what a gut punch it is. We spend the last half hour desperately hoping that they can get their stricken supper off the bottom, and had the elation of them successfully getting away, only to have the majority of them killed and the boat sunk at the end. So yes, I bloody love this film. All of the hours of cramped conditions, damp, crabs, the lot. I love the filming. I love how Petersen tries to cram people into every shot to add the feeling of confinement. The way the camera follows the crew from one end of the sub to the other in a crash dive really gets the sense of urgency. To be honest, if someone had shouted "Alarm!" right now, I'd probably attempt to sprint to the bedroom or into a huddled position on the kitchen floor. My house layout is a bit weird. There are some great model shots, although they do recycle quite a bit, and the whole film is just an emotional roller coaster, jumping from the elation of the boat going full tilt to the tension of hiding from destroyers. In fact, I really want to see this in the cinema with a decent surround sound system. I have watched it at a mate's house with a 5.1 system, and I reckon that hearing those acidic pips on the theatre system would make all the difference. Apologies again for the long feedback, but it is a long film. Good hunting, gentlemen. Murray the Pieman Christensen. Thank you very much for that, sir. I think that's good feedback. I think it's kind of covered everything we've said, apart from the fact that the young officer does look like Michael Gove.
Creepy.
Yeah. Pob. The human Pob. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I obviously criticised the ending a little bit, and Murray thinks it's an emotional gut punch. I mean, just remind me, you guys, you thought that was a good thing or a good ending, or what?
I think personally it is, because you realise throughout this whole film they've been safer on the boat than they have been during the time when they're on land.
That's very true, actually.
Yeah. That's kind of how I took it, in a way. Kind of being at the bottom of the sea might be hazardous, but not as hazardous as being subject to air raids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I did think it was almost kind of unnecessary, cruel twist of the knife.
Yes. Yeah, it was, oh, come on. Give him a fucking break.
How would you end it other ways, though? That's the thing.
Well, I mean, in some ways, they had ended it with them coming into the dock. I mean, you just need that shot of them looking like they do, and then the photograph being taken, which is the thing that they started at the very beginning. Don't take a photograph of them as children. Take a photograph of them returning as men.
I suppose they could have walked into a bar and the doors closed.
Yeah, and the photograph taken of these hollow-eyed people. That could have ended it. I mean, yeah, as Jim said, I thought it was just a bit too cruel, a twist of the knife. It's just like, I get the point, but I also get like, oh, come on. Yeah.
At the same time, I will forgive it, that ending, just because those final shots of the captain, going down by the side of his boat.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautifully done.
And just the look of the journalist on the journalist's face.
Yeah.
As he witnesses that's the end of your story, son.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Wasn't it sad to see the boat go down, though?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It's one of those that, again, as you said, the boat is a character. He'd been through so much. He'd got back home.
Yeah, and it's that, it's that Star Trek thing. It's that the ship itself has become a character, and you don't want to see it die any more than the rest of the crew. It's been through hell. It's been beaten up and smashed up, and it's been through so much. And you're like, oh, poor boat, just get home. it's knackered. It's fucked. Even if it ends up being scrap heaped, at least let it get home. But no, we have to blow the fucking thing up. It's like, no. But anyway, so thank you very much for that, Murray. Good feedback, sir. And let's move on. So, Darren, who do you have next?
Okay. Excuse me. I have Gary Madden. Gregory Madden. Sorry, Gregory Madden.
Ah, cool.
And
Bones.
he's got a mail titled Das Boot, really?
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
Das Boot, really? Okay.
We are seeing a sequel next week called Shoes. But,
Happy feet.
Das Shoes.
Oh, happy feet. Like it. Like it, Centurion.
But anyway, Gregory writes, "Greetings, Darren, Lee, Jim, Elton, and a notorious Mr. Owl." There we go.
Drunken, sozzled old bastard.
This week we go to sea with Das Boot, an epic World War II submarine story that I'd only heard small bits about. Now, first I'd like to say I was lucky enough to watch the almost 5-hour uncut version of the show. Yes, I would say lucky. Unfortunately, this brought me to a dilemma, for my normal tactic of watching movies with subtitles is to watch it once and read the subtitles and then watch it again, just enjoying the movie and making sure I ticked all the nuances of the visual effects. But unfortunately, with a 5-hour show, I had no desire or time to watch this movie 2 times in a row. So I had to get most of the viewing in one shot, which I am sure I missed a few lines of visual cues I would normally not miss. For me, ever since I was a kid, I was a World War I and World War II buff. And when I saw the show on the docket, I was quite excited. And watching the show took me back to when I was young and went to Chicago and saw the actual German U-boat from World War II and World War One. From World War II. And I would like to say, I would never be I would never be on one of these ships. I'm far too claustrophobic, and I could not imagine being on a ship with 25 to 45 people, depending on the type of sub it was. And I couldn't imagine the smell from, let's say, 25 people who were cooped up in that small ship for months on end. I understand the show was a mini-series before it was a movie, but it was way too long, and I think it would have been better if it was no longer than 2 hours. I felt that a lot of nuances that they put in the longer version could have been left out, and the story would have been just as good. Having said that, I think it's all very well done, and the conditions on the U-boat were very realistic. But as a whole, the show turned out to be a little bit boring and monotonous, and I would say, looking back, I would find the shorter version of this if I were to watch it again. Oh, and what was the deal with the end? Did they figure they needed to end it so quickly, so they decided to kill almost everyone in an air raid? I felt that they took the easy way out. I thought they could have wrote a better ending. Well, that about wraps it up from the medical bay of the USS Blackdog. I hope the shindig went well, and until next week, cheers. Greg Bones Madden.
Damn it, man. I'm a doctor, not a torpedo technician. Sorry, I had to put that in. He kind of highlighted it. Sorry. Well, thank you very much for that, Greg. Yeah, so there you go. Jim found it a bit boring and would have had a faster version. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand, pacing of watching a 5-hour movie is probably a bit much. But, I think now, if I was to watch it now, knowing what I was getting into, 5 hours wouldn't seem like a chore. But I would probably watch it in those 1 hour blocks like they've done with the miniseries. It still
works. Chopping that film up the way I did it in, I think I did it in three sets.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's a kind of cut-off point where you have to just turn around and go, actually, let's just stop it here, come back to it. Because, films cut up like that, when they're that length, I mean, that
5 hours is a long run time for one city.
It is a bit hardcore, to be honest. So, yeah, might be interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would watch a 2-hour version, though. I don't think I could do that because I just think you just don't get that tension
All you lose so much. From what I've read, you'd lose so much detail.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the things you lose to that opening drive to the club.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is quite actually instrumental almost.
Yeah.
Of seeing them all pissed up, just roaming across the landscape like animals, pissing on the car.
Yeah.
It does. Sorry. It might seem like, oh, you can cut that, that's bollocks. But actually, I think it does sort of bring that sort of full circle. If you know, when you've been through at the end of the film, you know why they're just all just wandering around with the bottles pissed out their minds.
Yeah. It's
also, you know, the guys who are on a second or third, fourth, or even like, you know, Jonas going off their 9th patrol, you're damn right you're going to get as hammered as possible the night before.
Yeah.
You have to set sail.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing. Stuff like that, which seems initially a bit sort of a bit pointless or a bit sort of indulgent, actually turns out to be sort of add to the symmetry, the whole thing of sort of like seeing the boys and then ending up with the men kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, initially you'd think, what's the point of that? But then by the end of it, you're actually, well, actually, it's a good way of actually seeing the toll this whole thing takes on them. Anyway, right, well, thank you very much for that, Greg. Good feedback as always, sir. And now it's time to move on to the next piece of feedback. Who do we have, Jim?
Yeah, Happy Dave.
Oh, Happy Dave Renee, now man from down under, from the Shire. what does Happy Hobbit Dave have to say?
Well, Dave writes, subject line, sticking Das Boot in.
Oh, right, okay. I can see where this is going.
Martha Pimplington's bobbing for crabs. Brackets again.
Okay.
Hello, chaps. Glad to hear the shindig went well. Sorry I couldn't attend, but we can't all fly there. Curse you, owl.
Fucking sozzled old soak. Why does he keep poking up? Put him away.
Back in the case. Also, sorry to hear Lee's having such hassle with work. Don't let the bastards wear you down.
Yeah.
Anyhow, on to Das Boot. I think we've all been a little hard on educating Elton. This is not a movie.
Really?
I've seen Das Boot 3 times now. First as a miniseries back in the early 80s, and vividly remember the underwater explosions and all the flashlights focusing on the crazed Johann, and that ending. Not sure I'd have got the crabs references when I was 10, though. Flashbacks to Goonies.
Oh, dear.
The second time I saw it was during the 1999 BBC Holiday Repeats, along with the Christmas lectures and the big nights. And it was something that kept me sane while I was stuck in a London flat, dealing with various inoculations and injections for a trip to Africa. This time I only watched the 208-minute director's cut, because life is short, and while it is still great, I sort of feel I've somehow missed out. This is not a film. Das Boot, along with Roots and Shogun, is a classic miniseries that defined the genre, and is one of the forerunners of today's binge-watchable Netflix shows, where you need to immerse yourself in for a couple of days just to get the full marinade of character and atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, I still think it's great. The acting is excellent, and the tension and pathos kick Hunt for Red October's wig down the hall.
Yeah.
Though the fact Johann now reminds me of a disleveled Theon Greyjoy was a bit distracting. And some of the model work looks understandably naff in HD now. Was this one of the first 80s grimy war dystopia movies? It definitely predates the likes of First Blood, Platoon and Full Metal Jacket. And the production was apparently underway before Apocalypse Now was released. Anyway, essential viewing. I do hope you enjoyed Elton. Though, when I watch it again in 10-15 years' time, I might treat myself to the full-length original. All the best. Glucklich Dav. P.S. When I was a kid, Das was a modelling clay. And I'm sure one of their old dads had a model of an old boot made out of it. That would sink hopelessly to the bottom of a bath as well. I'll get me coat.
Thank you very much for that, sir.
I do actually have a question to ask. Just an acid flashbacky thing.
Yeah.
Why were they all wearing? Well, some of them wearing goggles.
That was because that was to adjust their eyes to the dark before they went upstairs at night.
Right, got
Yes.
ya.
So they
okay.
weren't taking the goggles off, seeing bright light, and then going back up into the conning tower and then seeing complete darkness. So they were getting their eyes adjusted to the dark, going up.
That's also kind of why they have the red lights mode in submarines as well, for similar reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just because it looks cool.
Yeah, I never quite got that. It was always like, oh, really? Hang about. Why are we doing that? You know. But anyway, right. Well, thank you very much for that, Dave. Thank you very much indeed. I don't think we're being hard on Elton. Elton, do you think we're being hard on you putting this film to you?
Oh, God, no. No, not a chance. I fully deserve it.
Actually, here's a question. Do you wish you'd seen this film before? Or are you regretting not seeing this film sooner?
I'm not regretting it, but it would have suited. It's definitely one of my movies that I love war movies anyway. So I'm not regretting it, but I think I would have watched it a couple of times by now. Definitely. But then again, I think I needed to be a little bit older because of the German connotations and the subtitles and stuff like that. Not because I'm lazy, but sometimes it just doesn't grasp me. And I feel I've got a palate for that now.
Okay, fair enough. I'm probably going to ask you that every film we do this season, because it's going to be interesting, because some films you watch and you think, oh, I really wish I'd seen this more. I would have seen this by now, because I regret not seeing it until I was forced to, kind of thing. I've had that myself, so I might just ask you that in every other time, just because it gives me something to do.
You go for it.
Anywho, right, okay, right, fine. Well, thank you very much again for that, Dave. And now time to move on to the next piece of feedback. Who is it, Elton? Who do we have?
It's Fiendish Dr. Will.
Fiendish Dr. Will, who we saw at the Shindig and was in fine form.
Indeed.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
And the subject is grease it with Vaseline and ram it in.
Nice.
Good evening, Blackdog. So, 3.5 hours of intense German drama, and I was utterly and unexpectedly gripped the entire way through. What an amazing film. Everything that they portray has done excellently. The utter mess of the officer's mess, the absolute claustrophobia of the boat, the boredom of the waiting around for something to happen. There are so many little touches that make such a difference, such as the piles of food being squeezed into every crevice, and everyone chewing on lemons to keep the scurvy at bay. The camera work was also incredible. They definitely made the right decision to keep the camera within the confines of the boat, as it really made you feel you were there. I found it utterly believable, particularly when the comparatively primitive technology that they were using found their way around. The thing that really struck me was that although this was a war film, there was no sense of us and them. They didn't hate the Allies. They were just people doing their job to disrupt the convoys. Their utter devastation when they realised that they had torpedoed a ship that still had people on it said so much about their compassion for their fellow sailors, whatever their colour they wore. For me, it really didn't feel like a long film. I only started to notice the time when we were stuck at the bottom of the sea, and that was very close to the end. So all in all, I'm pleased to have watched this. I really hadn't expected to enjoy it so much. Regards, Fiendish Dr. Will.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Will. Yeah, again, that whole thing of didn't quite expect what I got, and the time just flew by regardless of the actual time. Cool. I'm glad you liked it, sir. Yeah, I'm always kind of a bit wary with films like this. You kind of sit there going, well, is everyone going to like this? 3 hours plus sort of investment.
With subtitles.
With subtitles.
How are we going to get lynched?
Yeah. I'm so glad we did this after the Shindig. Could have been a completely different event as people pummel us with fucking DVDs. Anyway, right. Well, thank you very much for that, sir. Good feedback as always. And now it's on to my next piece of feedback, which is from the other end of the USS Blackdog, Gary Mr. Spock Madden. And Gary writes, this one's entitled "One Up the Old Das Boot Shoot, Elton. You have been initiated." Well, there you go. I'm just going to have a quick mouthful. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry, there you go. Oh, mother. Right. Anyway, not only is it educating Elton Monty? I think he meant to say month, but I think he's got a typo, but it says Elton Monty. I think that should be your name forever.
Oh, Jesus.
Elton Monty.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for that.
Anyway.
Yeah, the man from Elton Monte, he says yes.
So not only is it educating Elton Month, apparently it's educating Spock Day, because Das Boot is a mystery monocle for me too. I've heard about this film being mentioned with reverence and always thought it was one of those movies I really should see, but I never actually set aside the time or gave a darn thing a watch. So, in for a penny, in for a pound, and I watched the 3 hour and 39-minute long director's cut. Holy fuck, it's long. First, I wanted to say the camera work is great. I particularly loved the shape of the U-boat emerging from the green ocean, and though I don't know if they were trying to achieve this, it had a look and feel of a noir movie, especially the scenes shot on a Nazi officers' club. Watching Das Boot, I got a good feel for what it must have actually been like aboard a submarine during World War II. The preparations, the claustrophobia, and how generally unprepared many of the men were who put to sea for the Germans, how generally unprepared many of the men who were putting to sea for the Germans were, as the Atlantic became the territory of the RAF and the Royal Navy. I actually saw a documentary that documented the crash diving techniques used by U-boats, and the scenes of the men running to the bow of the boat to increase the dive rate were accurate. But the author of the original book was an ex-Nazi submariner. The story had some brilliant parts too. I liked the more experienced crewmen of the U-96 taking the piss out of the reporter by telling stories of the sub being crushed at depth. I also liked the juxtaposition of the U-96 crew, who were just trying to survive, to the relative life of luxury lived by the crew of the USS Vesa in Vigo, Spain. The U-96 crew is facing a suicidal attempt to run the British-controlled Straits of Gibraltar, but their fat compatriots from the Weser just wanted to hear tales of glory from the fatherland. There were parts that didn't thrill me too. One thing, there was no amount of pathos that will make me feel sorry for Nazis, so no amount of what happened to the characters left me thinking, well, you're a racist, jackbooted thug, aren't you? So no matter what happened, the characters, I was left thinking, well, you're a racist, jackbooted thug, aren't you? The score seemed to hit and miss too. For example, when the U-96 makes contact with a convoy, we seem to go from pretty standard World War II movie score to disco Nazis on the hunt. Yeah, fair enough. My biggest gripe would be the ending, though. I mean, the film just kind of, stops. The sub-pens at La Rochelle are strafed, bombed, the captain dies, the U-96 sinks in a pen, and we're done. Would have been nice to have something more than that, but I guess that would make it less arty or something. Anyway, not the best film I've ever seen, and I won't be going back to Das Boot. But it's a good start to the month, fellows. Live long, run silent, run deep. Gary, Mr. Spock, Madden. Well, thank you very much for that, sir, and I apologise for screwing up your feedback by reading it faster than I actually read it. There you go. But anyway, it's interesting because,
by reading it faster than you actually
read it. Sometimes you read a line.
I'm sorry, it's just that it's dawned on me. It's like, how does that work?
No, because sometimes
getting ahead of yourself.
You get ahead of yourself.
Right, okay.
You sort of read a sentence, you think you know where it's going. You start to predict it to make things quicker and more smooth, and then all of a sudden you realise that they've changed the line from what I was expecting, and you go, oh fuck, I'll read that again.
Except to make sure you're paying attention. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, it's not. It's just meaning that they're writing down words which I'm not expecting, which means it's good feedback. As opposed
banana
to
hammock.
Banana hammock.
What?
Anyway, thank you very much for that, Gary. Good feedback, sir. I mean, I don't know about the disco Nazi theme tune. No, I didn't really notice that much.
Disco Nazi
Disco
theme tune?
Nazi theme tune, yeah. Yeah, I mean, interesting that you kind of didn't really think that the Nazi, you couldn't see past them being Nazis. I don't see that as a problem, but I'm just interested that you couldn't you didn't just see them as people. That doesn't sound right. That sounds terrible. That sounds like I'm being judgmental. Sorry. I mean, it's just interesting that the fact that they were still Nazis was forefront in your mind as the film was going on. And it's just interesting that didn't come across for you, that, you know, that they weren't really Nazis. The Nazis were kind of the big fat cats up in the boats in the Weser and all that sort of stuff. But I'm just going to stop talking because I know what I want to say, and I'm clearly not saying it. And at some point, he's either going to say, "Oh, well, fuck you then," or he's just going to, I don't know.
It's a big hole you've dug there.
I have dug a massive hole with my complete ineptitude, tiredness, and lack of erudition.
Let's dig our way out.
Okay.
Yes. So,
But regards the ending, though, I know it seems like shocking and sudden, and that's the jolt the film gives you. But if you think about it, they've just been out sinking British ships, destroyers, convoys. Of course, the Allies, by that stage of the war, were making a pointed effort to wipe out sub-pens. So it does logically follow that it's not entirely out of the blue that they would get bombed.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I know it shouldn't be a surprise, and it is just the randomness of war. But it does feel like after a 3-hour sort of turmoil and tension, you just sort of would just like just one glimmer of hope.
Yes,
yeah. It's like watching one of Darren's apocalyptic movies. You know, sort of like the whole world has been destroyed, and then you find one single buttercup, only to have someone take a shit on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, please, really? just give us this. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Gary. Sorry I've just dribbled a load of old gobble all over the top of your feedback. But it's now over to Mr. Barnard for his feedback. Who do you have next, Darren?
I'm just getting myself comfortable.
Are you getting yourself comfortable?
Getting
Why?
myself
Who do you have next?
I have somebody called Matt Zupka.
Oh, we have.
I think this is a new one.
A nude feedbacker?
It's a nude feedbacker.
Not nude feedbacker.
You haven't seen the photograph he sent with it.
Really?
I don't think this is very appropriate, but
Really? Okay. Have you suddenly become the radar guy on the
I
U-boat?
certainly have, yeah.
You know, he's never sending any more feedback in again after this.
I know.
Well,
but
thanks.
it'll be closed at least.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know, but there you are. But and Matt writes, "Greetings, gentlemen. I was excited to see that you were reviewing Das Boot. It's a movie that I feel like no one knows about, but pops up in the most unexpected places. I've watched this movie ever since I was 9 or 10. I've seen the dubbed theatrical cut, the director's cut, and the miniseries. I've also read the book twice, but find the movie to be superior to the book, a rare thing indeed."
Wow.
Short
Okay.
interlude on the versions. There really are 3 distinct movies, although I think only the director's cut and the miniseries are available. You wouldn't think so, but I feel they are. Also, after years of watching in dubbed, the first time I saw it in German with English subtitles really changed my perception of the movie as well. I absolutely love this movie. It was once described by my Boy Scout Scoutmaster as the only submarine movie where you can smell them. I would not disagree with this at all. The tension is palatable. You can feel the stuffy air stink into you as they're sitting on the bottom of the Gibraltar Strait. It's not claustrophobic. Oh, I'm not claustrophobic, but this movie certainly makes me appreciate open spaces. You don't watch the movie. You are there with them. From the first drunken party, the night before departure, all the way to the bitter end. And that ending, after all they went through, to make it home, only to lose it all at the very end. I could go on, but I feel like I would just start to repeat myself. It really is an excellent film. Take care, gents. Mike Zupka.
Well, thank you
Matt
very much.
Zupke, sorry.
Matt Zupke. So not only did you insult him at the start of the feedback, but you fucked up his name at the end.
No, I didn't insult him because I could have made comment on the photograph, but I didn't. Big chap.
I was going to say, talented chap. They call him Tripod. No, now I've done it now. That's it.
Go.
That's it. Well, thanks for listening, Matt. And one day you'll come back and forgive us. But great feedback, sir. Thank you very much, and I'm glad we've provided a platform for you to voice your opinion. So
The only submarine film where you can smell them. Brilliant.
well, yeah. I mean, it did though, didn't it? You did look. You did think if I was anywhere near that boat and that door opened, they wouldn't need sonar to find them in the fog. You would have just. You could have. It would have been like something. It would have been like fucking Desperate Dan. You know when he gets the cow pie out and you see the smell lines kind of travelling. You could have just drawn that out the top of the U-boat. Just
you get that as well when they slowly get greasier and greasier as they go on. Their hair gets longer, more matted as well. But once they've spent a couple of hours, 12 hours on the bottom of the floor, on the bottom of the sea, and then they come up and they're all huddled around that door, trying to breathe in that fresh air, and you know that thing was humming good.
Yeah, that was like a sweaty jockstrap. That whole boat, wasn't it?
Oh God, yes.
Oh, it was like ugh, I don't even want to think what that's.
Your balls are stuck to your legs, and it's just not pleasant at all.
Yeah. Well, when you know that the fishy air outside actually smells more pleasant than the air inside. You know.
You think of all that meat and hung up there, absorbing.
Oh, rotten bananas. Oh, man. Oh, God. Wow, I don't even know where to begin with that. Maybe that's a film for smell-o-vision. Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much again, Matt. And, over to you, Jim. Who's your next piece of feedback from, sir?
Next, we have another of the upstanding scientific community of the Blackdog Legion.
Oh, yes.
It is Dr. Scum himself.
Ah.
Fred Lubno.
Brilliant. And what does
Subject
Fred
line,
say?
who knew you could get crabs there?
Nice.
Anyhow, Fred writes, hello, Blackdog crew. Hope everyone is well and completely recovered from the shindig. When I heard that the next film for Educating Elton Month was Das Boot, I was not thrilled. I've only seen a few bits and pieces of this film on TV over the years, but I've never sat down to watch the whole movie. I was simply not looking forward to watching a 3.5-hour film about life on a submarine. However, I must admit, after finally seeing it, I found it extremely enjoyable. I did watch the movie over the span of 2 evenings. However, at no point was I bored. The story was absolutely riveting, and the characters were well fleshed out. The crew were not your typical Hollywood Nazis like you find in an Indiana Jones movie. This is a crew of men who, like many, were caught up in the global politics of war and were merely trying to just get a job done. They are sailors fighting in a war, but were generally sad when they knew they had killed their enemy. For a film from the early 1980s, the special effects were more than adequate. The sound on the film in surround sound was excellent, particularly the creaks and groans of the sub. I also appreciated the attention to detail. In movies, the ocean is typically shown as being blue water and clear with high visibility. However, in Das Boot, the majority of the underwater shots show the water as being turbid and green with phytoplankton. Being someone who identifies and manages algae blooms for a living, hence the nickname given to me, Dr. Scum, I could appreciate this. I can't imagine what it would have been like to be in a sub during World War II, but I think Das Boot gives me a glimmer of what this was like. When the sub hits the bottom, I did not think they were going to make it out alive. The scene where the crew is breathing in the ocean air after they service was marvellous. So imagine my horror with that ending. What a kick to the groin. Overall, a great film. Substantially better than I thought it would be. Thank you, Blackdog, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, thank you very much for that effusive feedback there, Dr. Scum, and the explanation of your name. That's handy. We'll put that down in the records. Yeah.
It's interesting, a point there about the captain and the crew looking at almost the humanity when they've actually killed the British sailors. Whereas on the flip side of that is when we get our movies and we watch us killing Nazis, it's all hooray, hurrah, and they seem more humane about it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's interesting because it's like one of those things where you kind of think you don't think about that kind of stuff because it is one of those kind of war film tropes. You know, yes, that's it, one up the Bosch and all this kind of thing. And then actually you see it from the other point of view, and they're like, "Oh Christ, Blighty's been, he's been killed. Oh no!" And it's like,
and we gave them 6 hours to get their men, but they haven't done anything. So what the fuck do we do? Back away! Back away!
Exactly.
Was that whole thing that it's a messy kill?
Yeah,
and there's that kind of. Like shit, they've been dropped in it by the top brass as much as we have.
Yeah,
but there's the line that strikes me in that is the captain says, we can't take prisoners."
Yeah,
and you've been on that sub a good a couple of hours by that point, and you know damn well there isn't any room for the crew on that sub. Never mind taking prisoners or rescuing people.
Yeah, not even room
all
for
you
food.
can do is just back away.
Yeah,
back away from a horrible mess and put it behind you. But that's your job, and there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's the worst bit, I have to say. But but also by the same token, it's also really amazing because you do actually see that moment of humanity, and you go, well, actually, it's not something that something they willingly do. It's something they just feel they have to because it's kind of an us or them situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, right, well, thank you very much again for that, Fred, Dr. Scum, and great feedback. I'm glad you liked the film. Glad we're introducing you to it as well. And let's move on to the last piece of written feedback. Who is it, Elton? And what do we have to say?
This is Lord Chief Justice, Mr. Chris Johnson.
Aha. And what does he have to say?
The subject is Das Booty Feedback.
Das Booty Feedback. Okay.
Guten Tag, Blackdoggers. Long time, no feedback. And I choose the feedback on the bum-numbing Das Boot.
Okay.
And being a fan of long sausage-shaped things full of semen, I really, this really didn't float my U-boat.
Yeah.
I just found myself zoning out and thinking, will this movie ever end? So I think I'll let myself into the bunker of some. Chris.
Yeah.
Smiley face.
Well, that's different. I mean, thank you very much for your feedback, sir.
Yeah, cheers.
I don't know what else to say on that one.
Alarm!
Alarm! Right, well, thank you very much for that, Chris. And you can hear Chris on Witless for the Defence, which is witless.geekplanetonline.com. But I don't think there's been any recently. Has there been, guys?
No, it's in suspended animation.
Oh, right, a bit like Buck Rogers. Okay,
yes.
fair enough. All right, then. Well,
with better outfits.
and less dancing around dartboards.
And not a small silver dildo pretending to be a robot.
Nice. Right, okay, well, that just leaves us to move on to our MP3 feedback. And our first bit of MP3 feedback is from the belly stapler, Michael Cornett. And let's hear what he thinks about Das Boot.
Hello, Black Doggers. Hello to Lee, Darren, Jim, and Elton. This is Mike Cornett, the belly stapler, Leopold von Gropenhans, reporting in from Baltimore, Maryland. Sorry I've been not in touch for a while. I've been licking my wounds after getting kicked out of my job back in July. Fuck you people. But I picked up a little extra cash stripping over the weekend. That's the God's honest truth. I was stripping. That is true. I was doing it. People loved it. I got money. It's great. I'll have to do it again. And anyway, I decided I need to kind of get back in the swing of things. So I've always meant to watch Das Boat. So I watched Das Boat. And I remember when this first came out, I was a pretentious little high schooler. And I wanted to see this so much. Of course, foreign language films never came out to that isolated little bit of America where I lived. So I never got to see it until now. So this is Mystery Monocle. It's good. It's fucking long, but it's good. I've heard a little bit about what it's like to be on a submarine. My former colleague was a former Navy man, and he had stories. My niece served on a sub in the Pacific Theater when she was in the Navy. I heard all these stories about how it stinks on the inside of those things, that just the human stench just builds up and builds up and builds up. And every so often, the sub has to surface and open the hatches just to let air circulate so people can just fucking not stink. And when you get off the sub and you're on, shore leave, you shower for like 24 hours just to get the stink off of you. And you're pale and pasty because you never see sun. This isn't, the glamorous Nautilus. This is, the down and dirty underwater shit. And it does a good job of showing the tedium of it and just the everyday life of what it was like for people then. I do feel it was maybe a little too long, but overall, especially for me, I'm a pacifist, I'm a peacemonger, all that, and I loved how this shows how these Navy guys, even though they're Nazis, they're still human beings. They're still cynical and doubtful of their leadership. They're still questioning, why are we doing this? Or even should we be doing this? And you see that it's all the same types of people. It's the same assemblage that you would get in an American or British made movie, probably. Because we're so used to seeing Nazis as these like creepy characters in old black and white movies who click their heels a lot and have monocles and scars and are played by Vanna Klemper and George Sanders and all these other people. But, here we have like relatable characters who are German and just happen to be Nazis. And are just wondering, what the fuck are we doing? And realizing maybe they've been misled. But, this was a great message of, war fucking sucks. War sucks. And you're killed by impersonal forces. And at one point when these guys are forced to see the results of their actions and see the burning men jumping off the ship, they're horrified. And that to me was huge. That to me was like, these guys are thinking, oh shit, this is really, really real. And the Allied forces attacking them at the end were very impersonal. These guys, they just saw them as a target. They didn't see them as people. Which is something that happens in war. Sometimes, as much of a peacenik as I am, I do believe sometimes it is forced on you. You just have to remember there's a huge cost. And that was, I think, something that came across in this movie. There was a huge cost for what they did. So, anyway, that's it for now, and I will be back. I don't know when exactly. You think I'm unemployed. I have all this time on my hands. Shit gets complicated sometimes. Anyway, I hope to see you all soon. I'll talk to you later. Love and hugs to all. Mwah. Bye.
Bye. And, yes, don't worry about when you feedback. I know you've got time on your hands, but that doesn't mean you have to feedback. You feedback when you feel like feedbacking, sir. And, on behalf of everyone here and everyone on the Facebook group, I'm sure we're all wishing you the best, for getting yourself back on the old job front. So fingers crossed, sir. But I'm reading you got a call back or something just recently. So fingers crossed, sir. And let's hope everything turns out well. And like I say, come back when you come back. But anyway, thank you very much for the feedback. Good feedback as always. Interesting again that everyone goes back to that scene. He goes back to that scene with the the British, the British in the water, and that suddenly it's that turning point which kind of humanizes who we've seen as the bad guys to suddenly actually just being people in a job.
Indeed.
So that's quite cool. I'm really glad. I mean, yes, it is long, and as we're now starting to see, mileage may vary with that, but at least you enjoyed it, and at least you see some, sort of found it enjoyable. But yeah, for some it can be a bit long. But anyway, the whole thing of it's not the Nautilus, it's not the Red October. Can anyone think of another submarine movie where it's actually feels this cramped and claustrophobic?
No, because they're all built like fucking shopping centres.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Every single one of them. There's no modern submarine movie about modern submarines.
Yeah, Crimson Tide was...
Crimson Tide's another one.
Another one, isn't it? Yeah.
Got like a fucking football pitch in there somewhere and stuff like that.
Yeah. 12-lane bowling alley. But anyway, okay, well, thank you very much again anyway, Michael. And you know what? Well done on earning money stripping. Because, you know what? The only way I'd earn money stripping is if I was a painter and decorator. Where's my CSI sound? Anyway, so, well, you never know. Keep that up, Right, well, that's that. And thank you again, sir. And we move on to our last piece of feedback, our last piece of MP3 feedback, which is from the Orgs, Pete and Anne-Marie, who are also at the Shindig. And who do the excellent Borgcast, which is a Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast, which you can find at borgcast.geekplanetonline.com and on iTunes. And let's hear what they thought about Das Boot.
Chaps.
Hello.
Thanks for the shindig, that was great fun.
Yes, it was awesome. I had lots to drink.
And so Das Boot.
Yes, which I...
Booty Book Boot Face.
Oh... Yeah. Now, I've been wanting to see this since I first heard about it when I was studying A-level German, which would have been mid-1990s. And I've been wanting to see it ever since.
Sure, I saw it with my dad many, many, many years ago. Remembered bits of it, but not very much. So yes, it was interesting to see it in its full cut.
Yeah, whereas I had never seen it before. So we watched... What version of it was it?
Director's cut.
Which we watched in German with English subtitles.
Yes. And you can smell the fetid feet and the crappy food, can't you?
Yeah, it's the hairy meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was grim.
That was... Then they all had crabs.
Yeah, nice.
No, not nice.
What interesting, the translation was a bit prudish, wasn't it?
Yes. Because most people know what scheisse means.
Yes.
And the subtitles went, oh no. You're like, no, that's not what that was.
And then there's a bit about burping.
Except it was obviously farting, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So the subtitles were prudish, but no, it was good. We had breaks here and there, didn't we?
Yes.
But, not for massive lengths of time.
But, I mean, it doesn't seem overly long just because it's so tense, I think. It keeps your interest all the way through.
And the characters are well written.
Mm-hmm. And when they're hurtling along at full speed, that's really exciting stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as a spaceship. Almost.
Well, I suppose a spaceship is a submarine in space, isn't it? Really?
Kind of. So, yes, good stuff. Enjoyed that.
Yes. Thank you.
Cheerio, bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for that, guys. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. And you know what? When it comes to, submarines basically being spaceships except underwater, I always go back to this.
1,500! 5,000 feet!
Dear Lord, that's over 150 atmospheres of pressure. How many atmospheres can the ship withstand? Well, it's a spaceship, so I'd say anywhere between 0 and 1.
Thank you very much, Futurama. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for that, guys. Yeah, we're glad to see you at the Shindig too, and yeah, quite glad you liked the film as well. I'm glad. Yeah, fatted feet and hairy meat. That's almost the title in itself, isn't it? Yeah.
As I noticed the subtitles were prudish.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Hang
notice
on.
that there were some subtitles that didn't actually have any kind of body saying them on screen. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where this file actually came from, you know, as in the subtitle file. But there's a lot of people. Suddenly it comes up with one and nobody's mouth opens.
No.
Somebody whispering this.
Yes. Yeah. The whole thing about Shiza. I mean, it was. Yeah. It's like ever since I watched Jim Carrey in The Mask, I now know that merde is shit. And so now when I watch French films and there's merde and it goes, oh no. You're like, no, it doesn't say that.
Jean-Luc Picard says that in an episode of Star Trek. It's just as they're coming out of the, you know, when they do that big sort of like surprise in part of an episode and it gives the shot of his reaction. It just looks, you just see him looking at the whatever it is off screen and he just goes, merde. And then it cuts the fucking advert.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then he was fired.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Anyway, and like I say, if you want to hear more of Anne-Marie and Pete talking about hairy meat, then do do go to their podcast, which is broadcast.geekplanetonline.com, and also you can hear Pete talking to me and Andy Blastides on Space Doc Jury, which is spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com. And we're covering the USS Enterprise this week.
Really?
Yeah.
The big one.
The big one, yeah. What the results aren't pretty, trust me. Anyway, right. So, that's it, really. We're all done. First time we've done a podcast where it's actually shorter than the film we're reviewing. So that's a good start. Only marginally, mind you. So, now it's time to tell you what our next film is for Educating Elton Month. Or 3 weeks, depending on how it goes. So, the next film is what I imagine it's going to blow hot and cold for a lot of people. It's kind of one of those films that when it came out, modern classic, so much so that it's been parodied here, there, and everywhere. It's spawned a GIF meme of John Travolta looking bemused.
Which somebody cosplayed that at a convention.
Yeah.
They've got a film of him just standing there, just doing the action,
looking confused, and it sort of, and like most Tarantino movies, it kind of reminded you that a few actors actually still existed, and at the time that was Bruce Willis,
yes,
and Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta. So we're talking about the film Pulp Fiction. So this is obviously another Educating Elton month. So Elton, do you know anything about this film?
What I do know this, I've seen the heart scene.
Right.
That was when I was drunk. I came home and I found it on the TV and promptly fell asleep after that.
Okay.
But apart from that, no, don't really know the story or anything about it.
Okay, quick question. Are you looking forward to seeing this?
I don't know. I've heard so many stories about this that you got to see this, you must see this. And I've got the soundtrack. I don't know if that plays into anything or...
No.
There's I've seen photos, I've seen clips, I've seen the memes. I just haven't seen the full movie to go along with it, really.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to this one, though.
No. Okay, interesting. Cool. Right. Okay, well, sorry. It's just I looked on the Facebook group and Matt Zupka has just posted up a picture of just an ocean with the caption, "Laughs in Submariner." Anyway, doesn't matter. Made me giggle. Right. So, what about you, Jim? What do you think of Pulp Fiction when you last saw it?
It's a movie I still enjoy. I mean, I saw it on its first release, and I enjoyed it back then. And it's kind of I've not seen it in quite a while, so it's going to be an interesting revisit to it. It's one of those. It's kind of, you know, when it first came out, it had such a big buzz because it was hotly anticipated because Tarantino had made his debut with Reservoir Dogs that it seemed to have took the world by storm, and there was can he do it again? And will it be more of the same? It sort of was, but also something rather different as well. Now, the last time I saw it, I felt the shine had come off it a bit because a certain amount of the elements in it had become kind of established Tarantino tropes. But then, been a few years under the bridge since then.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to go back to it now. There's a few things in it now I'm thinking, how well will that actually play now? And it's also the thing that it has been so referenced and pastiched and memed to death of whether that's going to took the fun out of it or not. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to going back to it. To say it's been a while. So
okay, cool. And what about you, Mr. Barnard?
This, I think, is possibly my second favourite Quentin Tarantino film.
Right.
The first one, of course, being the much underrated Jackie Brown,
which I have never seen.
Yeah, which has one of the sort of like my favourite lines in any of his film, which is Uzi 9mm, when you have to absolutely positively kill every motherfucker in the room except no substitutes.
Yeah.
That one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like this film. I haven't seen it in a while, so it'll be interesting to see how I feel about it after the next watch. But I am looking forward to it.
Cool. Okay. And for me, I watched this. I went through a big Tarantino phase after catching Reservoir Dogs by accident, just because it was the only thing showing at Woolwich Cinema.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anything about it. And then as soon as the next one came out, which was Pulp Fiction, I was like, I'm going to see that. I'm going to see it. And watched that as well and was well into it. Since then, my love of Tarantino's shtick has waned quite dramatically. And I haven't seen Pulp Fiction in probably about, I think it's probably it's safe to say 10 years.
Oh, I think that might be the same for me, actually.
So I'm going to be interested to see this again with kind of a bit of distance, because a lot of the stuff in it, like suddenly the resurrection of John Travolta's career, the resurrection of Bruce Willis's career, who's on the wane, all of that stuff sort of fed into it, and so I'm kind of interested to see how to watch it now. I'm just don't give it. I haven't seen this stuff. This stuff doesn't have as much an impact, and also Ving Rhames, who kind of really got his, sort of turned up in this with his little, did his thing, and it was like became like his shtick for a while as well. Yep. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for me. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. So, and what about you guys out there? If you want to send in some feedback, then do so. Send it in to blackdog@geekplanetonline.com. And do join us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog Podcast. And, I think that's about it. I nearly said Twitter, and I suddenly realised that's Space Dog, and that's got nothing to do with anything. But anyway, before we go, gentlemen, would you like to tout your wares as well? Jim?
Yes, you can hear me every week on my own podcast, Hypnagoria, where the episode just dropped. I'm just wrapping up the end of a 3-part investigation into a vintage unsolved murder. Mm-hmm. And this weekend, if my memory serves rightly, I've got a serving of weird fiction from Mr. Clark Ashton Smith.
Lovely. Excellent. That sounds great. By the way, I really enjoyed that 3-parter, by the way. I finished it today.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. I really like that. It's more twisty and turny than the twisty turny thing. I kept thinking, that's where he's going with this invest. Oh, no, hold on, we're going this way. No, it's very good. I really enjoyed it. So cool. And what about you, Elton?
Okay, you can catch me on Shonky Lab, which is shonkylab.com. The next episode that I'm going to be recording is on, what was it, the 26th, I think it is? Not this week, it's next week, next Thursday. And it's going to be about making a murderer. So if you want to join us, then please pop along to the Mixler page. All the details are on the Facebook group or on shonkylab.com.
Excellent. Right, well, that's it then. Time to say goodnight to everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to everyone who sent in the feedbacking. And, everyone who sat through this film who didn't enjoy the runtime length. Sorry about that. Also, sorry Andy couldn't be here because of his work commitments. I'm sure he would have brought a lot more insight about the submarine stuff than any of us idiots. And yes, all good. And so thank you, everyone. Good to be back again. And at some point, I'm going to get over this hangover from the shindig, so that'll be good. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you all for Pulp Fiction. Till then, sassy bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.